Chapter 54:19. It can be considered to have accumulated a lot of money. Since entering the great wilderness to the present, the real time is less than 10,000 years. He has gone from Yenxian to now the battle power to kill the Fifth Order Emperor. The strongest in the original universe is only the Fifth Order Emperor. This time, a huge relic was opened again, and the breakthrough road of Kendo, an extreme path, was just ahead. He has to hold it. Jian Wushuang stepped forward and followed the crowd into a space gate transformed by the stream of light. Just when they entered the ruins, Hui Qing, who had already penetrated into the inland sea of the West China Sea, followed Jiangshang's guidance to a small and indistinct island. Many mortals live on this island who go out to sea to fish for a living. The arrival of Master Hui Qing made the mortals on the island very respected, because a legend has been circulating in the inland sea that the extreme of the West Sea is the West Heaven, where there is a holy Buddha. This time when he went to the inner sea, Hui Qing also wanted to go to Shitian to learn about it. Only halfway there, Jiangshang suddenly realized a trace of energy. Jiangshang said with joy, "Master, I can play. That breath is related to you." He Dao. Hui Qing was surprised. This time he went to Shitian to discuss the Dao. He won He Dao, and if he lost, he returned to the Tung Shanshan. But I didn't expect that the opportunity for the apprentice halfway to promote the harmony is here. But he still has this confusion scene in his mind. Am I wrong? Hui Qing murmured. He was sure of everything until Jiangshang's appearance broke everything. Now, Jiangshang possesses the spirit of plants and trees, and there is no bottleneck in his realm climbing all the way, and he has surpassed him to become the emperor. Jiangshang waved his hand, and the spirit of vegetation turned into a child lying on her fragrant shoulders, and a halo floated on top of the little guy's head, scurrying around Jiangshang. "Little guy, you're grown up again." Jiangshang teased the child with his fingers. Besides the master, this is her second relative. After Hui Qing saw the child, she also leaked a smile and said lightly, "Then let's go and see." The two then disappeared on the island. When it appeared again, it was already outside a black hole on the ocean floor. The Zenji has reached the consummation, Hui Qing, and has also reached the realm of stars in space. I also know a lot about black holes. It's right here. Jiangshang pointed to this miniature black hole. Hui Qing did not hesitate, stepped out one step, and directly entered the black hole. Colorful lights flashed by. Hui Qing didn't know if he was walking forward or the lights were rushing behind him. "Master, I seem to feel a trace of evil right in front of us." Jiangshang's expression changed. That breath made her very familiar, and she thought of the puppet, the same breath as the murderer of her brother. Hui Qing frowned. It was amazing enough that a black hole could appear here. There were still people inside. The speed of the two has not decreased, but has become faster. All right, just ahead. As she got closer and closer, Hui Qing leaked a strange expression, and he was familiar with that breath. Could it be? Hui Qing was stunned until she saw the back. The back was very familiar, but there was a slight change in aura, but the sharp sword aura explained everything. It is Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, in the tunnel of this modeled color space, is the Dharmakaya that entered the black hole from the border of Maluo. Hui Qing could find Jian Wushuang, but Jian Wushuang's law body could not see Hui Qing. There is a big gap in the space they are in. Although they can see it, they are actually quite different. Hui Qing also discovered that she couldn't get close to Jian Wushuang at all. "Brother Wushuang," Hui Qing shouted, but Jian Wushuang in front couldn't hear it at all. There was hesitation in Jiangshang's eyes, but in the end he didn't speak. And Jian Wushuang in the black hole not only did not hear Hui Qing's shout, he didn't even feel anyone approaching. He was still drifting around and comprehending the black hole. Is this the universe? Jian Wushuang's law body, was fundamentally different from the scene Hui Qing saw after entering the depths of the black hole. Jian Wushuang discovered that he was in the depths of the black hole, and when he approached the source, he could feel the power of the universe. That is a realm higher than a black hole. It has the same beauty as the origin of the universe that it swallowed. Master, we and him do not belong to the same universe, but these black holes are both born in the universe and have the effect of mutual linkage. Between universes, space may be similar, but time is different. They saw that Jian Wushuang was not the Jian Wushuang in the world at all. It was very likely that Jian Wushuang had been here 1,000 years ago. Hui Qing still couldn't understand these rules. After looking at it for a while, Hui Qing gritted his teeth and turned sharply, breaking the color boundary. Wow! The two stepped to the edge of an ancient battlefield. Jiang Shang's eyes were full of joy. This is it. At the same time, Jian Wushuang's deity followed many powerful men and arrived at this ancient battlefield, but the two sides were far apart. After entering the ancient battlefield, everyone glanced around. The walls were ruined, and the corpses of strange beasts were everywhere, broken golden bones, and even colorful bones. Among them there are a large number of trial weapons, such as long swords, war hammers, and cold spears, all of which have long lost the power conferred on them, and turned into scrap copper and rotten iron. Everyone looked shocking. Even the well-informed king, White, couldn't help shaking his head. All the fallen on the ancient battlefield were all emperors, and they were also strong among emperors. How many powerhouses have fallen on such a huge battlefield and countless corpses? No one knows this. Even the treasure has lost its luster. Obviously, the battlefield here may be traced back to ancient times. Suddenly, a fifth-order emperor exclaimed, "It is the eternal treasure." Then he hurriedly pulled from a corpse and was about to pull it off. "Don't move." Bai Jun roared, but it was too late. The corpse that was dragged, the dim eyes, suddenly began to flicker. 1, 2, 3, 10,000. Countless corpses woke up in an instant. This scene was shocking even for the sixth-order peak emperor. The strange corpse slowly got up, roaring in a language they didn't recognize. What is even more strange is that these corpses did not attack them, but rushed toward the depths of the battlefield. This made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. The guiling island master and others have never seen this kind of scene, and they almost have to do it. Fortunately, he was stopped by the White King. These people stood in the gaps between the corpses, quietly watching them charge. What kind of willpower this should be! After countless years of falling, the body has to charge and engulf. Jian Wushuang was also very puzzled. He walked up to King Bai and asked quietly, "Are these corpses under Fuego's or from the Three Kings' Court?" "It's not the heavenly monarch of the Three Kings' Court." King Bai shook his head and then said, "The Three Kings' Court has recruited countless heavenly monarchs, that is, monarchs and powerful men, but these corpses are different from those of the heavenly monarchs." Chapter 54:20, Tianjun. It is the backbone of the Three Kings' Court. When the White King became the fifth-order emperor, he also saw the heavenly kings of the third-order court. The lowest strength is the fifth order. Their most precious treasures have a unique aura, which is different from these corpses. The power emanating from this corpse is contaminated with the power of the soul. That power makes them very uncomfortable. Just like swallowing, it is an evil force. Let's wait and see what happens. The White King and the Kemen people did not act rashly. Shen Wuyang and the people in the Yuan Lao Palace are all their own people, and they can be regarded as united and gathered together, and they haven't moved. The miscellaneous troops of Guiling Island Master didn't know anything, so they didn't dare to act rashly. They kept staring at Situ Nan in the Yuan Palace and King Bai in Kemen. No fool, Who dares to attack those corpses at this time? Countless corpses besieged. The Sixth Order Emperor may have to be buried here. Snapped. Broly, who was standing at the end with his father Bukuin, blasted a corpse close to his father's skeleton with a punch. The power of this punch was very powerful, and it was definitely the power of the fifth-tier peak. Do not. Although Bukun's strength is not good, he is not stupid. It is useless to want to stop because the corpses nearby have turned their heads. The Guiling Island Master also reacted and found that his disciples had taken the lead in the attack. He did not hesitate at the moment, and two powerful auras directly blasted near Zhen Wuyang and King Bai, immediately attracted countless corpses to turn around and began to besiege them. King White scolded, "Damn it!" But Jian Wushuang had already quietly retreated behind everyone, putting himself in the center, protected by the 10 Fifth Order Peak Emperors around him, and he was very safe. Boom, boom, boom. The corpse began to attack in a big way, and no one can be blamed at this time. You have to withstand it first. You can't stay here for a long time. Zhen Wuyang stood tall and looked into the distance, surrounded all around. Staying here will be exhausted if you don't break through. The Guiling Island Master and the others had already shrunk the divine body at this time, followed the gap between the corpses, and began to flee. Resistance? Who gave the courage? Even if you can resist, you won't waste your strength here. There is no benefit in killing these corpses. It may even be contaminated by the soul. Let's go too. Follow Guiling Island Master. Jian Wushuang looked at the opportunity and called out King Bai, and forgot to flee with Gong Miaoi, the Emperor Mini guarding him. He could escape with all his strength at this time. When the corpses were provoked, Emperor Yin Yi was on top. This battlefield, big or small, is comparable to several higher worlds. It is comparable to the secret realm of the universe in the outside world, but at this distance, the Emperor can let go and escape within an hour. As Jian Wushuang fled, his body also changed, becoming the same bone as the corpse, but the color of the bone was colorful. Soon, they escaped from the vortex of battle. The bones in front were already the same as them, rushing toward the depths of the battlefield. He had to see what was in the depths of the battlefield, so that so many skeletons rushed past desperately. Zhen Wuyang and Situ Nen, who stayed at the end, were miserable. The vortex of the corpses became larger and larger, and it was difficult for them to rush out. Shang's law bodies turned into hundreds of millions of slaying bodies in rage, desperately destroying those corpses, unmatched. After the break of this business, Zhen Wuyang and other talents followed. Damn it! Zhen Wuyang ran all the way and cursed, and the people who caught up with Guiling Island directly killed them. The Guiling Island Lord doesn't care about these. He flees with several Sixth Order Emperors, regardless of those Fifth Order Emperors at all. This time the disciples he led were all by his side, and several of the Sixth Order Emperors, such as Tianshan Emperor, were miserable, and many Fifth Order Emperors under his command were slaughtered by Zhen Wuyang. Obviously, it was something the owner of Guiling Island provoked, but he made his people take the blame. Ahead, in the depths of the battlefield, a towering figure blocked them. After seeing the existence of that person, King White took a deep breath and shouted, "It is the Lord of the Universe, quickly disperse." King White is very familiar with that breath. He has seen the Lord of the Universe. Although the man in front of him is no longer in this courtyard, his breath remains the same. Dead. This time, they understood the other side's murderousness told them, and it would be death to rush forward. Boom! A huge beam of light exploded, sweeping away all the strong in front in a straight line, whether it is the bones or emperors like them. Several Fifth Order Emperors fell in an instant, and a Sixth Order Emperor was crushed and seriously injured. It was the Emperor who was the last to the Senate Palace. Because he was walking slowly, he didn't have time to react, so he was hit. On the contrary, the The person in the front found the strangeness and hurriedly avoided. Call. Jian Wushuang was in a cold sweat behind him, and he would definitely die if he encountered the beam of light just now. Fortunately, it runs fast. At this moment, he did not dare to be careless. The beast god realm quietly broke out, and the divine body began to climb. Heavenly magic power has also been driven to the extreme, and the divine body has reached 40,000 times. Jian Wushuang asked anxiously, "What should I do?" Suddenly, everyone lost their own opinions, and they didn't know what to do. This time, the ruins exceeded all of their expectations. The entire realm of, or the four secret realms, has never seen such a powerful ruin. There was no corpse of the Lord of the Universe in the forest of 10,000 treasures. Some have long been taken away by the people of the four great halls. The Guiling Island Master and the others were overjoyed. The realm, or all the sixth order emperors of the four great secret realms, are not after the absolute peak at all, but the extinct master of the universe. Now, I actually encounter the body of a cosmic lord. Although it has no origin, it is enough. As long as you get the body of the cosmic lord, it will also be developed. King White was even more enthusiastic. The flesh, the people present, don't need the flesh more than him. Elder Qingmong came up with the jade slip bestowed by the gods, handed them to King Bai, and said, "The gods have orders." King Bai took it, and only he could understand the secret text above. After reading it, he crushed the jade slip and leaked a sneer. The message above is very brief. Suppress with Jian Wushuang's power of all things and seize the body of the Lord of the Universe. Jian Wushuang heard the rumors of King Daobai. Everyone was stunned. Let him be a Taoist to suppress the physical body of the Lord of the Universe. If the opponent can't move, he dare to go up and try. But now, let alone him, let a sixth order peak emperor dare not go. This is the biggest opportunity of my life. Jian Wushuang, if you make me perfect, I will climb to the top and share the entire temple of God with you in the future. I will be your guardian. King Bai made a promise. He really wanted to recover peak, even one step forward. He originally took the line of the divine body. Although the source has recovered, he doesn't know much about the cultivation of the source. If he gets the body of the Lord of the Universe, he will be able to embark on the old path and break through with the divine body. Chapter 54:21, coupled with the dual cultivation of the origin, once he breaks through, I am afraid that no one can stop him, neither the gods nor the true spirits will work. Jian Wushuang hesitated. Face the Lord of the Universe. He dare not. The power of all things suppressed. I haven't tried it. If there is no danger, you can try it. But now, seeing Jian Wushuang's hesitation, King Bai immediately left. He is going to try. That majestic existence has not moved, and that beam of light also erupted from his eyes. He wanted to pacify Jian Wushuang's worries. The White King roared. There were so many divine bodies, and he desperately transformed into the same size as the Master of the Universe and walked over generously. The beam of light condensed here, and the White King's figure flashed, but when he reached the top, the beam of light still burst straight out. Come. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth without hesitation and rushed straight up. Fight. He bypassed the straight line and rose into the air. Seeing Jian Wushuang, King Bai nodded with hot eyes. The others looked at these two people, thinking they were crazy, but they quickly reacted. Stop them. The flesh of the Lord of the Universe. A piece of flesh and blood is enough for them to comprehend, let alone a complete flesh. Not only the master of Guiling Island and others, but Zhenliang, Qi Shui, and Tong Tian also burst out. The quotient is not so strong. It is normal for the ultimate emperor to pursue different pursuits. His cosmic secrets are almost Mahayana, and it won't take long to break through. From the emperor to the Lord of the Universe, It is a qualitative change from space to time. The essence is different, and the difficulty of breaking through can be imagined, especially master the ultimate way of destruction. Need to break up the complete space and reshape a piece of time. And space exists in every moment of time. The huge universe, as long as there is a breathing time, then a space is formed. This space is not an ordinary space, but the cosmic space that carries the world. The man from the Yuan Palace came up and saw that Shang was unmoved, and said, "Don't come up and take a look? Don't go. It's useless with me. Fight with them." Shang shook his head. Situnen said in surprise, "Don't help? How easy is it?" As soon as Shang's words fell, the body of the Lord of the Universe really began to change. The Guiling Island Master, who ran faster than King Jian Wushuang White, was directly smashed to pieces by a palm. After reuniting, he never dared to step forward. King White sneered, "Idiot! If you want to accept this body, the first thing is to suppress it." Jian Wushuang's figure turned into a black hole, and the power of all things released made that physical body familiar and yearning. His divine action continued to shrink and finally turned into a high position, and finally began to move. Charged towards Jian Wushuang. This is the so-called suppression. Jian Wushuang's desire to die was gone. This is obviously using him as bait. Attract the other person to him. The power of all things is also a rare and precious source in ancient times. It requires countless types of source cohesion, and it must be the ultimate source. It's like the origin of all things. It's just the origin of 10,000 ways. And the 10,000 ways included are very common. The condensed power of all things has impurities. Only when the ultimate ways are gathered together can the pure power of all things in Jian Wushuang's body be condensed. That is, not in the ancient times. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang would have to be offered as an ancestor. The massive power of all things in the black hole spilled out into the flesh of the Lord of the Universe. I originally thought that I was very strong, but after I kept importing, I found that I couldn't stop at all, and the effect was very weak. There is no way that the other party is the Lord of the Universe. It is too difficult to awaken this physical body. He is just a Taoist, so there is so much power of all things to awaken a Lord of the Universe. King White did not dare to delay, and directly abandoned the flesh, and the illusory shadow of the divine body rushed into the flesh of the Lord of the Universe. As soon as I entered, I was shocked by my self-protective consciousness. Obviously, the physical body has not yet awakened. "Wait!" Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, frowning. This time, he gave his life to help King White. After the matter was done, it wouldn't be too much to knock him a few times. Jian Wushuang once again condensed the massive power of all things, fully digested 90% of his Buddhist origin, and plunged into the body of the Lord of the Universe. King White once again held his breath and moved forward. But this time, Zhen Wuyang and others came over. Qingmong, Zishan, and Lanyu stopped them. The Shang in the distance started doing it this time. At first, he didn't help because he had to fight for it by chance. Now he helped because someone blocked Zhen Wuyang and the others. Not only him, but Situ Nan from the Yuan Palace also did it. Arrogant! The three elders resisted desperately, and they were able to stop the three inheritors alone, but the strength of Shang and Situ Nan were not weak. Jian Wushuang didn't care much about these things, and said loudly, "Go in, they can't hold it for too long." The White King below is also a decisive generation, and the phantom of the divine body begins to merge with the flesh of the Lord of the Universe. There was this gap in the Buddhist awakening, and the White King just saw the stitches taking advantage of the vacancy. After gathering into the flesh, Jian Wushuang stopped directly, As soon as the eyes of the flesh body opened, they slowly closed again. I really want to wake up. They all have to die. Ake Shu. Come call. Jian Wushuang's breath dropped suddenly, and he was extremely weak. With a few tear, 5 dying monarchs, he quickly retreated back to recover his strength. When regaining his origin, he frowned and found that Gong Miaoyi was missing. After scanning around, he discovered that the other party had already mixed up with the prince of the Maluo kingdom, Rasha. Damn it! He knew that Gong Miaoyi was not simple. There was the ultimate source in his body. How could he be controlled? There was still blood Luo Jing on the opponent, a treasure that could unlock the ruins, which should not be underestimated. It can't be said to be useful later. And now he ran away. There is this and that small seal on the Senate Palace, and the blood-falling crystal can be regarded as falling on the side of the Guiling Island Lord. Now, the 3 elders of Keeman have been besieged again, and the situation is not good. Once these 3 elders can't stand it, they will face the danger of being purged. Nothing is worthless, and keeping them would threaten them. Monarch White is still merging with his body, and he can't help at all. His strength is too weak, and he can't go up rashly. Those who are participating in the battle are all Tier 6 combat power, and he is also looking for death when he goes. How to do? Jian Wushuang glanced at Guiling Island Master and the others. They were so hurt by the body of the Lord of the Universe that they did not dare to go again. It happened to see Zhen Wuyang and Qing Mang and the others fighting each other, and they were also happily sitting on the mountain and watching the tiger fight. Jian Wushuang whispered quietly, "Island owner, the rabbit is dead, and the fox is sad. You don't understand, Gong Miaoyi. I let you, but if we wait for the other party to liquidate us, you don't want to be alone." The Guiling Island Master, who was sitting cross-legged in the distance, was taken aback for a moment, then turned to look at Jian Wushuang, the fighting power of the Fifth Order Emperor. He noticed before he came in, and then released the strange power to help the White King enter the body of the Universe Lord. He also saw it. Chapter 54:22. Boy, don't talk nonsense. I won't do anything without showing sincerity. Turtle Spirit Island Master sneered, still too young to agitate him. He has lived for countless epochs. How could he be used by a little boy? Jian Wushuang was unwilling to say. There is only one physical body. I can't promise you, as long as you can help me through the difficulties this time. We can form an alliance. Don't talk about empty words. The owner of Turtle Spirit Island shook his head impatiently, but Jian Wushuang really failed to show his sincerity. Can't kill Gong Miaoyi now. Even if it was killed, Shui Luo Jing fell into the opponent's hands, which actually made the opponent cheaper. Jian Wushuang was a little anxious. Qing Mang and the others couldn't stop them for too long. They had already been injured. Being able to quickly defeat Qing Mang and the others, the Guiling Island owner and the others were shocked. But if they really helped, not only would they not get anything, but they would offend the inheritors. Even if they are not guilty now, they will fight for treasure later. And if they meet again, they will still fight. As Jian Wushuang said, it is better to form an alliance, but not reconciled. The owner of Turtle Spirit Island was also very entangled and proactively rumors. Boy, as long as you can guarantee that the body is half of us, I will take someone out. Island Lord, I can only guarantee that 10% is yours, and there is nothing I can do about it. Jian Wushuang sneered in his heart, and the other party was still fooled. If his words can be believed, they won't provoke so many enemies. The owner of Guiling Island frowned first, but he heard that only 10% of him was heard, which means that he himself could get 10%, and the others didn't count. He was a little tempted. Turning his head to look at these people beside him, he couldn't help frowning. What about this group of people? Do not care. Qingmang and the others are about to fall, and if they don't make a move, this Chengdu is gone. When the time comes, the inheritor will succeed, and they will have no chance at all. Everyone, it's time to move your hands and feet. These people have fallen. We are the one to fall next time. It's better to form an alliance with them and get the body of the Lord of the universe. Everyone can learn about it. This is what I strive for you. You can consider it. The Guiling Island master suddenly became righteous and awe-inspiring. Emperor Tianshan couldn't believe it. This old Wangba actually had this kind of consciousness. He also felt that he wanted to make a move early in the morning, and he knew the truth about the sadness of the rabbit and the fox. The strength of the Qingmang people is not weak. These people have fallen, and disputes will arise when the time comes, and it is them who die. Do it, hold them. Seeing no one refuted, the master of Guiling Island took the lead in doing it. But my heart sneered at how stupid these people were. This is also the reason why Jian Wushuang didn't find anyone else. As long as a little bit of benefit is thrown, they can all be shot. As for I Cheng's physical body, it was a big deal to wait for King White to merge and cut a piece of meat for the opponent. When the time comes, the strength of King White will skyrocket. It's just that these people are still useful. It doesn't hurt to give it. You stinky fish, rotten shrimp, dare to block this seat. The body turned into a colorful Chishui walker and blasted the Tianshan's body with a punch. The towering toad, its body was swelling, and then it made a sound that shook the sky. Quack! Puff! Zhen Weiyang's majestic face. With a punch, the world was dimmed. It was just fine. With the help of Shang and Situ, Nan, it was easy to defeat Qingmang and others, but after the Guiling Island master joined the war, it was not so easy. In particular, there are still countless bones around now, and every time they attack, they have to calculate carefully and can attack those bones. Had it not been for the physical body of the Lord of the Universe, the skeletal army would have rushed over. Shen Wuyang looked at these people and yelled, "You idiots, what benefit did the other party give you?" "Thanks, Tusk. Even if it's not good, I won't let you inheritors take it away. This is the relic of our realm powerhouse, so I will give you everything." This stinged the hearts of the Yuan Lao Gong and others. Stopped for a while. Tong Tian Buddha was anxious, turned his head to look at Situ, Nan, and said, "Situ, what are you doing?" The body of the Lord of the Universe erupted with a powerful aura of origin, which was refined by Jian Wushuang, which also represented the success of King Bai. Ha ha! The frantic laughter shocked everyone. King Bai's eyes were cold, and he slowly stood up. "You guys." Jian Wushuang felt a bit of a bad feeling, and he slowly got up and began to back away. The origin was refined by him. He knew King White better than anyone else. The laughter just now didn't sound like King White's voice. "Damn it," King White said again, uttering the last few words, and then began to do it. Boom. The indiscriminate attack directly killed Qingmang and Lan Yu. Zishan was seriously injured and hit at the end to assist and escaped. Shang also felt a bit of a bad feeling and shouted, "Go back!" Then the figure was directly in front of Lin Zhenwuyang and the others. Destroy! A black lotus was in full bloom, and a breath of terror that swept the entire battlefield boiled. Shang turned his head to look at the others and said anxiously, "Hurry up, get out of here. My law body will be broken for you." Then he said, "Situ, Nan, don't forget your duty and protect them from here." "Relax." Situ Nan directly grabbed Shen Wuyang and the others and bypassed King Bai. The master of Guiling Island was stunned for a moment and wanted to ask Jian Wushuang what's going on and why he wanted to kill his own people, but turned his head to see that there was Jian Wushuang's shadow, and he had already run away. While running, he still didn't pull a few elders and the elders of Zishan. Jian Wushuang has the power of everything and can restore their combat power. He alone has no ability to survive here. Facing the Black Lotus, King White was a little surprised and said in surprise, "The secret of the universe is still created by its own creation, which is a bit interesting." Wow! The Black Lotus was in full bloom. Shang stood on it, and the breath rose directly to the highest level. Ask. Shang was calm, knowing that he was not an opponent, but he was just a law body, and it was no big deal to fall. This time it was not in vain, and he was able to meet a master of the universe. At this time, the White King is no longer leading the White King. Jian Wushuang was fooled. He and King Bai were both beaten by the gods. Refining the source and searching for the flesh are all pretenses. Everything is to revive the Lord of the universe before him. Jian Wushuang was calculated, and now fled in embarrassment. But King White has fallen, and this time he has fallen completely. Remember the name of this seat. Fiego, you are qualified to know who killed you. Fiego urged a trace of origin, and the whole person was a little intoxicated. This source, as Frosa told him, was very powerful, but it was not as powerful as before, but it was enough. It was enough for him to recover again. Dear, click in, give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of the beautiful wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 5423. Shang Ting stepped on the Black Lotus. His cold eyes gleamed. No matter who you are, I will do my best in this battle today. It is good. No one knows what happened in this battle, but the image of a lotus flower is always printed in this space. It can be seen from a long distance. The power of destruction destroyed everything. The space-time long Hanoi, far outside the temple of Qishan. Shang Yidao resulted in a desolate beast of the highest level and obtained a huge fruit. This is a treasure that the desolate beast has guarded for countless epochs. He smashed the fruit in one hand. The force of destruction engulfed the power of the fruit into his body, and he became stronger again. Fuego, ancient creatures, kind of interesting. Then he took out a piece of jade slip and said, "Master True Spirit, I want to return to the four secret realms." His deity wants to try it himself. The Dharma body was not good enough just now. This long river of time and space he has been crisscrossing for thousands of years. It is meaningless at all. The desolate beast that was just beheaded was already the strongest creature in this time-space long Hanoi, and it felt that it was not as powerful as the Qinglong Palace Master. He played against the masters of the four main halls. Now that Fuego has appeared, he has rekindled the vast power of destruction and may be able to help him break through. The boundary, the West Sea, and the interior. Jian Wushuang had already brought people to the edge of the battlefield. For some reason, it was also very wide, but the corpses did not dare to come. What is going on? Elder Zishan looked at Jian Wushuang in confusion. Obviously feel that Jian Wushuang knows. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said, "We are calculated. Is it King White?" At this time, Elder Zishan still did not dare to say that the gods were calculating them. This brainwashing is too serious. Yes, it's him. He calculated us. Jian Wushuang laughed in his heart, but nodded on his face. Only in this way can Elder Zishan continue to listen to him. He didn't dare to speak ill of the gods. Otherwise, he would have to be destroyed by the Elder Zishan first, if he would not be killed by the Lord of the Universe. Elder Zishan was full of anger and cursed King Bai. Call. Jian Wushuang turned his head to look at the battlefield, but his heart was very uncomfortable. This feeling of being calculated is very uncomfortable. He still remembered that the gaze that King White had prayed to him had completely fallen. Zishan, since King Bai has rebelled, you will tell me in the future. We have to continue to do things the Lord God explained. Jian Wushuang also began to fool Elder Zishan as a pawn. No way. In this place, every Sixth Order Emperor is a backer, and it is difficult to move every inch. There was chaos on the battlefield, and it was impossible to get out. Elder Zishan groaned for a moment and said, "Don't worry. The young master, Lord God, has confessed that no matter what happens, you must listen to the orders of the young master and the White King. Now the White King has rebelled and naturally follows the young master." Okay. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. And then he said, "Don't worry. I'm here to seek some treasures for Lord God. Except for those treasures, all other treasures belong to Elder Zishan." After taking Zishan, Jian Wushuang also breathed a sigh of relief. Now there is such a Tier 6 top emperor next to him, and the few Tier 5 peak emperors who are still alive are useless and can be used as a shield. The most critical thing at the moment is how to leave or enter the depths of this ruin. Boom! A burst of light flashed and appeared in the front. Jian Wushuang paused, a little hesitant. The place was so quiet that the corpse did not dare to invade. He was uncertain whether or not to go in for a while. Just when he hesitated, Zhen Wuyang and others had already escaped from the battlefield and rushed toward the depths of the light, without any taboo. After gritting his teeth, Jian Wushuang followed with others. Now he is not afraid of these people, but he is afraid that there is no living person around him. The big deal is to reveal his identity, just as the White King has fallen, and he can be completely whitewashed. Follow Zhen Wuyang and return to the Tomb Mountain in an open and honest manner. Go! Bringing the elders of Zishan and several emperors, followed Zhen Wuyang and the others. And behind them, they followed the Guiling Island Master and others. In the battlefield, a more powerful might erupted, and it was obvious that Shang had encountered the Lord of the Universe, according to Shang's combat power. Even if he uses the cosmic secret method, he is by no means an opponent, and it will delay for a while at most. Although Jian Wushuang didn't know much, he also knew what the Lord of the Universe meant. It was an extremely dazzling existence in the ancient times, and it was not something the emperor could resist. The cultivators who are still alive now almost all left the battlefield and rushed towards the quiet mountain. Silent Hill, the source of light. Zhen Wuyang and others have been here long ago. Seeing these people still standing there, Jian Wushuang was a little confused. This is not Zhen Wuyang's style. According to the past, these people have already rushed to meet opportunities. It is impossible to be so calm. Jian Wushuang did not dare to move forward for fear of danger. Staring into the light, Jian Wushuang saw two figures clearly, one man and one woman. It is Huiqing and Jiang Shang. Why is he here? Jian Wushuang was surprised. Obviously there weren't these two when he came. How did it appear? Could it be that the real spirit opened the back door, let them in? It's not impossible that there is a precedent in Primordial Star in the presence of so many testers descending inheritance. It shouldn't be difficult if Huiqing is allowed to open another small hole. Sure enough, the Tianjiao who was chosen is different. Had it not been for King Bai, he would have been no worse than Hui. Look at it now, all in a panic. He didn't even have the face to say that he was the inheritor. He was played around by the gods. He first refined the origin for the White King, and then ran here and finally made a wedding dress for others. An ancient creature was resurrected, and King White also fell. What is this called? They are all extremely intelligent people, and they are finally fooled by a dragon who sees the head and misses the end. If he hadn't run fast, he might have been looted again. The other party was able to quietly kill King Bai and robbed of the origin, and it is estimated that he also knew something about him. The infinite power of everything in the body. It's simply a treasure of mobile. The bald head monk inside seems to be in harmony. The elder Zishan looked for a while and found that things were a little weird, and then said, "How can there be a reptile like Dao Jun here? It is still in harmony." Jian Wushuang didn't listen to it, but he couldn't say anything. But the word Hadao is even more harsh, and Hui Qing is actually in harmony. The little novice who was holding his thigh at the time was all in harmony. But it's not too surprising. It's time to join the Tao in the first step, and now that the realm is complete, if it succeeds, it is the ultimate emperor, and the ultimate emperor with 1 step and 5 steps. I am afraid that the combat power is not weaker than the Sixth Order Emperor. Chapter 54:24. Immeasurable Buddha was able to suppress the Fifth Order Emperor when he was a Fourth Order Emperor. And when Hui Qing combined Tao succeeded, he was the ultimate emperor. For the Fifth Order Ultimate Emperor, it was not a problem to fight against the Sixth Order Emperor. Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief when the master of Guiling Island and others arrived in the distance, seeing that the Prince of Maluo was still alive. "There must be a big chance here. Let me go in. Simple. Rough. Go up and do it." But before they rushed in, Situ Nan and Tongtian Buddha stopped them. Tongtian Buddha sneered and shouted angrily, "Who dares to step forward?" Situ Nan's breath is also rising. Although the Shang is no longer there, the combat power of these people should not be underestimated. It is really impossible for the Turtle Spirit Island Master to get in. When necessary, Zhen Wuyang and Qi Shui Xingzhe also shot. They are all inheritors. Everyone, it's too overbearing. For the sake of a little guy, you have to give up the opportunity. The owner of Turtle Island hasn't discovered that the person among them is related to the inheritor. I feel that these inheritors are crazy, so they don't want to grab the chance and watch others put it on the same path. Situ Nen replied coldly, "Gillen Island Lord, this person is the inheritor of the Tomb Mountain, and he is only a Taoist lord. If anyone dares to destroy his chance, the Tomb Mountain, the Senate Palace, and the temple will not let you go. You have to think about it." Standing in place, the master of Guiling Island looked ugly and frowned. This is not to scare him. He was really a little scared. He didn't expect these people to come in with Dao Jun, so that such a great opportunity would be given to a Dao Jun, which is very outrageous. With many disciples and others around him, the owner of Guiling Island was not afraid of losing face, and said indifferently, "Since he is Dao Jun, then forget it. What is good about Daijin's inheritance? I have to see if he can break through." Goodness! Tongtian Buddha breathed a sigh of relief. Hui Qing is in harmony. This is a huge thing. For a Taoist monarch, harmony is a major event that crosses life and even space, let alone fighting. Even if a wave of anger swept over, it might break the way of heaven. Therefore, it is best to fight without fighting. It really delays Hui Qing's harmony, and no one can bear it. This is the Tomb Mountain, the ultimate way of the gods, who can be ranked in the top 3. And it is to cultivate the ultimate way to the level of consummation. You must know the ultimate way of cultivation to reach consummation. The difficulty is huge. Once successful, it will be more than 1 level stronger than those who are not consummation. On the Tomb God Mountain, most of the ultimate princes are on the 7th floor, a few are on the 8th floor, and only a few people on the 9th floor are consummated. The ultimate Taoist, who can finally unite in a perfect posture, does not have the number of hands. This is the most elite seedling on the Tomb God Mountain, even more important than these emperors. Although a little unconvinced, no one dared to say anything. After the Guiling Island Lord retreated, he felt a little unhappy. Although he had not lost much this time, he did not find a single treasure. Turning his eyes, he turned to Jian Wushuang. Nowadays, the strength of the tripartite, the biggest loss is actually the Keeman and the Senate Palace. A Dharma body of Shang is comparable to all of them. As for Keeman, not only did he lose a pinnacle emperor and a top 6 tier, more importantly, the White Emperor was gone. Jian Wushuang still thought at the beginning, waiting for King Bai to return to the peak and sweep everything. The treasures here are all his. Now, not only the plan has fallen, but he has become the weakest party. There was only one tier 6 top emperor around, and the other tier 5 peak emperors had no effect at all. On the other hand, there are 3 sixth-order emperors who have lost Shang's law body on the side of the Elder Palace. Each of them is the peak, not the peak, but the half-hanging 6th-order peak emperor who can hang on the 4 secret realms. Situ Nan is the only one. No one is his opponent. Zhen Wuyang, Qi Shui Walker, and Tong Tian Buddha can also be comparable to the 6th-order peak combat power. This time, the Yuanlao Palace has the 6th largest power, and the other 5th-order emperors don't count. There are also 7 or 8 6th-order emperors on Guiling Island Master. Among them, there are 3 at the peak level, and the remaining weak are also the 6th level tops. The remaining 5th-order emperors are not as good as Jian Wushuang's side. But these are not important. Now the Guiling Island Lord is looking at him. This time I am afraid he is not so easy to talk. Island Lord! Jian Wushuang was very respectful. Now I have to bow my head. No one is protecting him. He may fall here at any time. The master of Guiling Island didn't change his face and said in a low voice, "Let's talk about it. What happened just now?" Situ Nan and Zhen Wuyang also looked over, obviously wanting to inquire about what has just happened. It's about the Lord of the Universe. There was no time to ask when he just ran away. Now that he has stopped, there is no danger. Naturally, he has to ask. Jian Wushuang pondered for a moment, knowing that if he didn't say anything, he would not be able to pass this level today. Seniors, I really don't know what happened just now. We are all proceeding according to plan. It happened suddenly, and I don't know much, and it is our people who died. Jian Wushuang said, sincerely, own people. If it was someone else who died, I'm afraid he would have played in the hands of several 6th-order emperors. Situ Nan looked gloomy and said coldly, "What plan, what organization? Let's talk about it one by one." It may be that he is used to it in the celestial realm, and his mouth is a series of cross-examination. Jian Wushuang turned his head and glanced at Elder Zishan, and threw the pot over. He is just a 5th-order emperor on the surface. He can't say too much. He can only say what he has just participated in, and the rest has to be supported by the tall man. Others can also see that Jian Wushuang's identity is special, but his strength is average. In the lower West Sea, the owner of the Zizhu Forest, this time I explored this place with a few friends. I didn't want this to happen. The fallen people were greedy and lost their consciousness by backlash. I don't know anything else. The words of Elder Zishan are very vague, not as good as Jian Wushuang said. Obviously, it can't be fooled. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and he began to calculate the situation on the field. The ultimate emperor's law body has a high probability of falling, so if the remaining combat power is distributed, the old man's palace and the inheritor are better. He now has a lot to win over the master of the Turtle Spirit Island. In fact, it is not to win, but to take refuge. Jian Wushuang whispered secretly, "Island owner, the Senate Palace, and the inheritors are the strongest on the field now. We can't fight, or we will make them cheaper. The opportunity ahead is already occupied by the other party. If we don't do something, I have no chance to intervene in all the opportunities behind." Boy, do you want to use the old man again? Guiling Island owner is not stupid. He was right, it was indeed appropriate to join forces now. But Jian Wushuang had a tier 6 top emperor, and he didn't have much bargaining chips. A tier 6 top emperor, dispensable, nothing serious. Chapter 54:25. If it is the Sixth Order Peak Emperor, it may still make him a little jealous, but the Sixth Order Top Emperor is not casually suppressed. Jian Wushuang also knew that what he lacked was a bargaining chip, and immediately said, "The island owner doesn't want to know. Why can I help the Emperor enter the body of the Universe Lord?" N. The master of Guiling Island was taken aback. He almost forgot that King Bai entered the body of the Lord of the Universe, and it was Jian Wushuang who helped him. This is undeniable. Especially the power erupting in Jian Wushuang's body is very peculiar, and it can also help the Sixth Order Emperor restore his combat power. As long as the island owner is willing to cooperate, I may not be able to help in future battles, but I have absolutely no problem restoring your roots. Jian Wushuang assured. The Guiling Island owner was a little disdainful and said lightly, "You can do it just as you catch you." Island owner can try. I still have this courage. Jian Wushuang's eyes were firm, and he wanted to catch him? Not too possible. The three parties persisted for a while, and finally Jian Wushuang reached an agreement with the owner of Guiling Island. The treasure was opened in 1999. The owner of Guiling Island had to choose first, and the rest was Jian Wushuang. This basically cut off Jian Wushuang's chance this time. But it would be nice to be able to save his life, and he didn't dare to have too many extravagant hopes. Save your life first, and consider everything else in the long run. Situ Nan and others didn't want to have another dispute, but when they looked at Jian Wushuang's eyes, there was a little more murderous intent. Naturally, I don't believe that Jian Wushuang and others are from any inner sea forces. Although they dealt with the shadow sect in the heaven realm, they also had some understanding of the Keeman in the realm, and they were all a force. The tripartite forces turned into a confrontation between the two parties again. Now the road ahead was blocked by Hui Qing, and Zhen Wuyang and others guarded the way, so they could only wait. Jian Wushuang is also curious about whether Hui Qing can succeed. The two have a good relationship, so naturally they will not match up with the owner of the Turtle Spirit Island to destroy it. In the light, Hui Qing and Jiangshang sat cross-legged face to face. "Master!" Jiangshang looked at Hui Qing, his eyes flashing. She protects Hui Qing and helps Hui Qing join the Tao. Jiangshang, who had become an emperor, didn't join the isle at all, and even the Tao was very vague. She is said to be an emperor, but physically she is more mundane. That grass and tree spirit is equivalent to her original Tao, which can be condensed into the original Tao of spiritual consciousness, which is probably the only one. The immature children hovered beside them. Hui Qing clasped her hands together, motionless. Hadao, as the name suggests, it is to integrate one's own Tao into space, integrate the origin of space, and finally step into the ranks of emperors. Hui Qing's luck is very good, and the chance of harmony is greater. The ultimate way, Zen machine void and ethereal, unlike Jian Wushuang's kendo, it is visible and tangible. Zen-ji is more like the Tao of heaven, and it is also related to time. It is not easy to integrate with space. The Tao of Zen is floating in the space of Hui Qing, and it has been unable to integrate into one for a long time. Because there is already a way in the space, this way is the original heavenly way in the space, and Hui Qing has to suppress the other party before she can integrate her Zen machine into the space. As the saying goes, there is no room for two tigers in one mountain. How can there be a second way of heaven in one space? The origin of the Zen machine transforms into Hui Qing's appearance, floating in the silent space. Good. Reincarnation of the way of heaven, once grasped the origin of space early, turned out to be a bad thing. If you only grasp the origin of the space now, I am afraid the heavenly path inside will be so strong. But the origin of his space has reached the level of Yang to Yin, and the heavenly path contained in it is naturally unusual. He didn't expect that he would meet the opportunity of Hadao. when he just arrived here, originally thought that it was necessary to go deep into the remains. Unexpectedly, after the black hole came out, he would arrive at a lotus platform in Lingtai Mountain Spring, which seemed to be specially prepared for him. All kinds of auxiliary treasures, plus a trace of time origin, are what he lacks most. Combining all the treasures and realizing time, he embarked on the most critical part of the path of spiritual practice. The road to the Emperor. It's like a bridge connecting heaven and earth. After crossing this bridge, he was so big that he would never be able to go up if he fell down. Time is the process. The Zen machine is to deduct everything. Once, present, and future. Hui Qing transforms into three, connected into one line. He used to be a little novice monk who practiced cross-legged on Mount Wuliang for countless years. Now, he is an anti-heaven Taoist, and he has stood up in trials and tribulations. But now he is far away from the past and near to the future, and the Tao is the same. He always feels that he is farther and farther away from the infinite and fearless way of the past. Future, vague, but full of hope. He can't see clearly, but he can feel it. In the future, he can control the world and even control the time, but he has a pair of big hands holding his spine, and those hands are always there. In the future, Hui Qing's eyes flashed, suddenly opened her eyes, and looked directly at Jiang Shang. He seems to understand. The master of those hands is Jiang Shang. Hui Qing was dumbfounded. In the future, he will be controlled by his apprentice, and he will still be unable to get rid of it until he becomes the existence who masters the time. Seeing Hui Qing wake up, Jiang Shang said softly, "Master." "No problem." Hui Qing continued to close her eyes, and Okanshu, calm, returned to the space. He hesitated. I don't know whether to break through. He can live for others. He has not fulfilled the wishes of several masters. Go to the big division to save all the immortals. Go down. Is it really right? Hui Qing muttered to herself. At this moment, he saw several former masters. The jade-faced master looked at Hui Qing and stretched out his hand to grab him. The rough head of the monk waved goodbye. He is far from the right way he once was. The distance to Hadao is getting closer. The right way once was the way of the immeasurable Buddha, but now the boundless Buddha has changed, and the preaching on Mount Boundless has become a joke. Hadao, harmony is the truth. Hui Qing's eyes became firm. He didn't pay attention to Jiang Shang's hands and struck forward and attacked the emperor. The outside world is also changing. The light on Hui Qing's body illuminates the world, far beyond the light in Lingtai Mountain Spring. On the distant Tomb Mountain, the true spirit took back the deity of Shang and stood shoulder to shoulder with Shang on the top. Successful. Zhenling breathed out. On the Tomb Mountain, the first ultimate Taoist who broke through the emperor appeared. In Shang's current realm, Hui Qing can also be seen a little uneasy and said, "Master True Spirit, those hands..." "It's not hands, it's time, it's Hui Qing's first catastrophe." Zhenling was very satisfied. He put in that trace of time origin. The relics of Shihai are also the secret fight between him and the gods. In fact, it should have been turned on long ago. He saw those things about the gods more clearly than anyone else, and he was always planning, just waiting for this day. Let Hui Qing join the road is more important than the entire Shihai ruins. Chapter 54:26. There are indeed the inheritance and treasures of the three kings in the West Sea ruins, but those things are still insignificant. The Temple of Chishan was established that year, plundering the treasures of the entire time and space, and it was impossible to use it. Even if there are a few masters of the universe, the true spirit can still be raised. Zaihai's plan was for Hui Qing, and as for the follow-up, it was left to others. This time he won. In his opinion, it is like this. the of the giant clan, resurrected a cosmic lord, but his origin was much different. After so many years of ossification, he had only half of his power. Even if it is resurrected, there is not much threat. As long as the ruins are out, his true body can come to Shihai to behead the opponent. Fiego. Zhenling turned to look at Shang and said lightly, "You want to go in?" Shang nodded with determination in his eyes. "Don't wait." "Let's wait. The secret method can't be Mahayana. Maybe it's because I didn't meet a suitable opponent." The business chief took a sigh of relief. The reason for the successive breakthroughs in these years is not too much. In the time house, he has stayed at least for tens of thousands of eras. The only difference from the outside world is that he has the guidance of the true spirit, and the inheritance he has obtained illuminates the road ahead of him. Now that the road ahead is spacious, he wants to go down and can't just retreat, so he went to the long river of time and space. There used to be many mysterious long rivers of time and space, but now it's not as good as the four secret realms. There are too few strong people and too few resources. This long river of time and space is a long river of time and space that has not been bred for long, and there is not even a master of the universe. Zhenling thought flew, and there was the past of the gods in his memory. Compared with Qishan, the age of these inheritors is not bad. At the beginning, the god of God was born on a desolate ancient star with wild beasts, and there was no place for the human race to stand. Now that the long river of time and space in the outside world, at least the practitioner has the final say, and all special beings have to stand aside. As soon as Zhenling pointed out, a black hole appeared, and he said, "Be careful. The other party's background is very mysterious. You must run away in danger." "Don't worry. I'm not one of those young people." Shang leaked a smile. He was also an ancestor-level figure in the primitive universe. How could he be impulsive? Once he couldn't beat him, he still had to escape. As Shang entered the black hole, Zhenling looked at Huiqing again. Although the potential of quotient is very strong, the route is a bit extreme after all. Way of destruction. Inappropriate, according to the will of the gods. To cultivate future generations, it is best to take a more stable path, just like Huiqing's Zen machine deducing all things and becoming the pinnacle of the universe in the future will also restrain yourself because you see farther than others. In this way, maybe you can go on forever, and you won't embark on the old path of the gods. It is not so easy for this world to exist forever. Outside Lingtai's spring, looking at the light, luck climbed. The emperor with experience knows that the people inside will succeed. Successful. Congratulations to Tong Tian. Wind and rain. True Wuyang. Qishui travelers all clasped fists to congratulate. Tong Tian Buddha nodded in relief. He is very optimistic about Huiqing, and is not as narrow-minded as the immeasurable Buddha, and cannot tolerate others stronger than him. Tong Tian Buddha is more open. The ultimate way is to be stronger than them. This is an indisputable fact. Don't talk about 10,000 ways of flow, divine body flow. These are useless. Even if your origin is mutated, it won't work. Thinking of this, Tong Tian Buddha looked at Zhen Wuyang. Not to mention, the origin can also mutate. Since Zhen Wuyang entered the temple of Qishan, the origin has mutated. The origin of the cultivator, returning to the ancestors, has become the origin of the beasts in ancient times. I don't know if it is good or bad. Anyway, the strength has risen a lot. Otherwise, Zhen Wuyang would not be able to keep up with the speed of him and Qi Shui. At first, the wind and rain didn't even crush them, but when they arrived at the temple of the gods, they quickly overtook them. Fenyu Demon Lord's potential is mediocre, and he is considered to be a well-regulated second-rank origin Dao. Hopefully in the future, it will be difficult to get another level up. It's not that you don't have to have a special origin Tao to become the Lord of the universe, but after becoming the Lord of the universe without a special origin Tao, you won't be able to live long. Since Tongtian Buddha inherited the inheritance of the Lord of the universe, his vision has widened a lot. The emperors all want to become the master of the universe, but after knowing it, it is estimated that not many people have that idea. After becoming the Lord of the universe, he encountered more catastrophes. The emperor at least has luck. If he keeps a low profile, he can exist for a long time. But the Lord of the universe is different. Catastrophe. The Lord of the universe is really like the universe, with all kinds of disasters. Once it fails to cross, it will fall. The Tongtian Buddha even secretly guessed that the God of God had fallen because he had not overcome the catastrophe, and that he had fallen with a long river of time. There is no source way that is two against the sky, and becoming the master of the universe is also looking for death. Only those ultimate existences can go further. Out. Tongtian Buddha and others leaked smiles and looked at Huiqing and Jiang Shang. After Huiqing broke through, he sensed the strong people around him, somewhat surprised. I have seen all the emperors, Buddha masters, and hall masters. Huiqing bowed to see him. Although broke through, she still had respect for these emperors. On the tomb's sacred mountain, not only the real spirit took care of him, but the Tongtian Buddha and others also took good care of his younger generation. Tongtian Buddha smiled lightly and said, Huiqing, you have become an emperor. According to the rules of our hometown and world, you are also a Buddha from now on. In the world of Tongtian Buddhism, as long as it is an emperor, it is a Buddha. Dian is a bodhisattva, Yenxian is an arhat, and common customs are novice monks. Huiqing grew up from a novice monk to a Buddha. For a while, I was in a trance, but he knew from the bottom of his heart that he stepped onto the Zen machine and went against the Buddha. Facing the enthusiasm of Tongtian Buddha, he didn't say much, just smiled. You are the fifth order emperor who just broke through. Huiqing, your realm of space is very high. Huiqing replied, it's the star realm now. As soon as this sentence came out, the Guiling Island master and others in the distance were very jealous. A Taoist has just joined the Tao, and the realm of space is the same as them. Moreover, when the space realm reached the star realm, the four great secret realms were all sixth-order emperors, but Huiqing was still a fifth-order emperor, which showed that they were far behind on the origin road. Little friend Huiqing is the fifth-order emperor who succeeds in the Tao. I am afraid that his combat power can be comparable to the sixth-order peak. Fenyu Emperor praised him. He was in a trance for a while. When he entered the temple of Qixin, he was still the peak of the primitive universe. The fifth-order peak that he dreamed of was no longer the peak of the primitive universe. I don't know if it has become stronger or weaker. Many people think so. Now, many inheritor emperors have sent a Dharma body to return to the original universe. It's just that there are no disputes in the current primitive universe. Chapter 54:27. When encountering a weaker emperor, he will not be bullied. When encountering a strong one, he will naturally respect. A piece of peace, because there are no disputes, even the younger generation. As long as they arrive at Yenxian, they will be sent to the Daoqi temple for a trial. The rest of the ordinary, in the primitive universe, there are still many treasures for cultivating the ordinary. Even if some treasures are not available, they can be purchased in the four secret realms. Even the current emperor is lazy to go for it. What is there to break through? Innate treasure. Original treasure? It's all rubbish. Might as well go to the four secret realms to pick up the tatters. In front of countless strong people, Huiqing is like the protagonist, chatting with the strong ones one by one and congratulating them. Standing in the corner, Jian Wushuang said silently in his heart, Huiqing, congratulations. Standing like myself, is this the gap? When everyone was talking in detail, a huge black hole appeared behind Lingquan. Everyone was shocked and quickly backed away. Jian Wushuang retired directly to the end, ready to escape at any time. If there were treasures, it would not be his turn, so it was better to retreat farther. Inside the black hole, a towering figure walked out, as if he was one with the black hole, coming out with the power of destruction in the black hole. Shang! Qi Shui was overjoyed. The person here is the only second ultimate emperor, Shang. First, he nodded to everyone, then looked at Hui Qing and said, "Congratulations! Don't disappoint the cultivation of Master True Spirit." Hui Qing also understood. This is probably the chance that the real spirit has prepared for him. I came here to deal with the Lord of the Universe. You can move forward as soon as possible. The greater opportunity is still behind. As soon as Shang's words fell, his whole body burst out and rushed in the direction behind them, and his figure seemed to have stopped here and finally turned into a ghost, slowly disappearing. The others were okay, but they were not surprised by the strength of Shocking Shang. The Guiling Island Master and others have not seen so much, and there are even some of them who have never seen the most powerful. The Island Master of Turtle Spirit was more knowledgeable. He had once entered the Inner Sea Demon Court and met the real Demon Emperor, the absolute strongest, and there were only two strongest demons in the realm. One set up a demon court in Shihai, and the other was in Tian Bay. He was a demon wolf, very low-key. He had never heard of it. For them, the absolute peak is the pinnacle. But the feeling that the one gave them just now surpassed the absolute peak. If you really want to do something with them, I am afraid that a single glance can kill most of them in a flash. Terrible. Fortunately, I didn't do anything to them. Jian Wushuang was also shocked, not because of his strength, but because of Shang's origin. All of them began to condense into a set of rules. That is not an ordinary rule, but the law of operation of the universe. This is the manifestation of the space reaching the realm of the universe. The space has reached the realm of the universe, which means that Shang is almost reaching the level of the master of the universe. Once space is broken and time is condensed, it becomes the master of the universe. Envy. Jian Wushuang had envy in his eyes. First, Hui Qing succeeded in the first step, and then he saw Shang, who was about to become the Lord of the Universe. Jian Wushuang would not envy other people, but he and Hui Qing and Shang are of the same kind, and both master the ultimate way. One day, he will also become the Emperor, even the Lord of the Universe. And now, the Emperor is fast too, the 7th level peak of the extreme Tao. Once his space reaches the realm of the black hole, it can help him enter the extreme Tao consummation. The 8th level of Kendo, and the idea of the 9th level is also there, and it's coming soon. This time, he might also be able to go to the Taoist consummation not far from Hedao. The strong road. Go! The owner of Guiling Island shouted angrily and led the crowd behind Situ Nan and the others. Although Hui Qing has succeeded in the harmony, there is no need to go directly. The key is no turning back. It is better to keep exploring. The Emperor is not the end. After all, he has to go on. Continue toward the middle of the Silent Mountain. In the valley not far away, there is a huge ancient temple which is very old, but the breath above it rises to the sky. Palace of 3 Kings. Seeing the font size above, Jian Wushuang was overjoyed. No wonder the corpses didn't attack here. It turned out that this is the old nest of the 3 Kings. It's not that they don't attack, it's that they can't enter at all. Looking at the 3 Kings' palace in front of him, Situ Nan threw Xiaoyin out, then looked at the Guiling Island Master, and said, "Don't be froze. Take the bleeding Luo Jing to open the main hall." It's up to you. Turtle Spirit Island Master was able to be tough. After knowing that the deity of Shang came, he was much more honest. I don't dare to have any evil thoughts anymore. I just hope to be fair after entering and get some benefits. Just don't ask for how good he can make him go further. Fighting with the inheritors, he was frightened and unwilling to fight. The rest are not fools. The Shang dare to deal with the Lord of the universe. Killing them is not a matter of blowing a breath. Don't look at the distance so far. Maybe it can really kill them in one breath. Click! The stone statue outside the hall began to loosen. Everyone's hearts tightened, and the eyes of the stone statue showed a dim sheen. The strange voice sounded again. Everyone didn't understand it at all. That voice makes people yearn for. The wonderful sound from the ancient Three Kings Palace represents the inheritance of the ancient Three Kings and the supremacy of the Three Kings. The two stone statues trembled slightly, but it was a pity that the Three Kings fell in a hurry, and now even the stone statue guarding the door is damaged, and there are no two working spiritual senses inside. Among the two stone statues in front of the hall, only one have stood up slowly, and the other one did not stand up after shaking for a long time. Sorrow! A huge breath began to condense. Everyone knew it was bad, and there was no time to retreat. The stone statue turned into a giant with a dog head, holding a huge axe, and smashed directly at everyone. Retreat! The owner of Guiling Island also shouted angrily. The Fifth Order Emperor by his side had already retreated far away. The combat power of the stone statue is unknown, but from the aura, it cannot be resisted without a Sixth Order Emperor. Ooh! After uttering a strange cry again, the stone statue began to shrink, and its aura became weaker. The axe hit several Sixth Order Emperors, including Situ Nan. After the stone statue's breath dropped to a certain level, a 5 character appeared on its chest. Jian Wushuang recognized this name, and his eyes lit up. When King Bai deduced those names, he knew them all. 5s. What does it mean? The stone statue suddenly became smaller, and its strength suddenly declined. What does this mean? Jian Wushuang stood at the back of the crowd, scanning the crowd in front. 5s. The Fifth Order Emperor? He counted it down. And now there are the most Fifth Order Emperors on the field. Understood. This stone statue is also to be ordered by people. Otherwise, relying on the strength of the Three Kings, even the puppets who guard the door can kill them at will, but being able to reduce their strength to come to the other party is obviously controlled by a certain consciousness. This is likely to be an inheritance, just like the Temple of Chishan. Select inheritors. But the death of the Three Kings Court was too hasty, and they didn't prepare too much, so this stone statue blocked them. Another thing seems to be that it's too long to start. Chapter 54:28. After the dog head stone statue became smaller and weaker, an enchantment also appeared in front of the main hall, and a lot of text appeared above it. The text in each line is different. Enter one by one. Finally, among the countless lines of text, they saw a kind of text that was universal in ancient times. It probably means that everyone needs a pair of stone statues to fight against each other. Those who win will enter, but those who lose cannot enter. As for the Sixth Order Emperor, you can go in directly. No wonder the 5 characters appear on the chest of the stone statue. It turned out to be to stop the Fifth Order Emperor. Everyone glanced at each other. No one dared to take the initiative to step forward. The master of Guiling Island looked at Jian Wushuang obliquely and said indifferently, "Let your people try first." It is good. Jian Wushuang was not qualified to refute. At the moment, let a Fifth Order Peak Emperor go up and try. The Fifth Order Peak Emperor stepped out and entered the enchantment in one step, and the two sides broke out without being muddled. Tear, puff. The Fifth Order Emperor was directly torn apart his body. The blood donation burst on the spot. Everyone nodded, satisfied. The fighting power of the stone statue is average. Among the Fifth Order emperors, Zhan Wuyang and others can enter. For the rest, it's not that easy. But the Sixth Order emperor was still a little worried. It is said that Tier 6 can enter, but no one can guarantee that there is no danger. This time not only the master of Guiling Island looked at Jian Wushuang, but also Situ Nan. Jian Wushuang had no choice but to say to Elder Zishan, "Elder Zishan, you go in first. Since the above said that the Sixth Order Emperor can enter, there should be no problem." Then he sounded and comforted, "Everything is for the Lord God." Yes, the Elder Zishan looked firm and entered the enchantment directly. The stone statue froze for a moment, and it didn't take a shot at the Elder Zishan. After staying for almost a breath, Zishan's figure disappeared in place, obviously entering. Situ Nan and the others breathed a sigh of relief, and then began to go in one by one. Situ Nan didn't rush in. First let the two Sixth Order emperors go in, and then let Zhan Wuyang and others go in again. There was no intention to let the Guiling Island Lord go in at all. Guiling Island Master, was anxious. Situ Nan sneered and said, "Pharaoh, what are you worried about? I didn't go in. When these little guys go in, I will go in with you again." Zhan Wuyang and the others are not weak, and it is easy to get in. But it's difficult for Guiling Island Master. Among the inheritors, even 10,000 stars can enter. When the Fourth Order Emperor enters, the stone statue will display a four-character. This surprised Luo Chuan, the fourth prince of the Maluo kingdom. It is difficult for the Fifth Order Emperor to enter, but it is relatively easy for the Fourth Order Emperor to enter. At the same time, he glanced at the eldest Prince Rosha and leaked a sneer. It didn't take long for Luo Sha to break through the Fifth Order Emperor, and at most he had the strength of the Fifth Order peak, and he had no hope of entering. Soon the inheritors finished entering, and Situ Nan was the last one to enter. He was also afraid that the owner of Guiling Island and others would jump the wall in a hurry. Even if you dare not kill the inheritors, there is no way to stop them. So he stayed at the end. He glanced at the island master of the turtle spirit, walked directly into the enchantment, and then disappeared. The Guiling Island master and the others couldn't wait a long time ago, and they didn't care about their subordinates at all. Just like dumping dumplings, they all went in without a few breaths. Those who stay outside now are the Fifth Order emperors. Jian Wushuang finally came to the forefront. Now on the field, the strongest is their side. He now has 9 Fifth Order peak emperors on the side of the Guiling Island Lord. In addition to some emperors of the Maluo kingdom, there are disciples of Guiling Island and some other subordinates of the Sixth Order emperors who stayed in place. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to say to kill all of them, but it was not difficult to kill Rasha. Especially the other party still holds Gong Miaoyi in his hands. He clenched a fist gently, and Gong Miaoyi, who was following Luo Sha, frowned. "Kill him, or you will die." Jian Wushuang's law body hidden in Gong Miaoyi's body quietly transmitted the sound. "Kill him! Kill him!" Gong Miaoyi lingered, and Jian Wushuang's law body directly began to swallow. The pain that went deep into the source caused Gong Miaoyi's forehead to show cold sweat. The Fifth Order Emperor present at the scene also had a relatively high status for Luo Sha, but he did not have much confidence, so he asked others to try first. And when he found that Gong Miaoyi was wrong, he turned his head to look at Gong Miaoyi and whispered, "Why? Up." Gong Miaoyi leaked a smile, shook his head, and said softly, "Nothing yet." But before Luo Sha turned around, the blood Luojing in Gong Miaoyi's hand passed through Luo Sha's chest. Luo Sha stared down and looked down at the Shui Luojing that appeared on her chest. When he wanted to turn around, Jian Wushuang had already appeared in front of him. A hand knife exploded out of a 40,000-fold divine body and directly gave Luo Sha's head, chopped it down. The body of the divine body was directly broken, leaving the source, and Jian Wushuang's body turned into a faint black hole, directly swallowing all the source of the source. All this was completed in the blink of an eye, and when everyone reacted, the 9 fifth-order peak emperors had already stood around Jian Wushuang. Gee, the original taste is still as wonderful as before. These are nothing, but the key is that the arm of the candle dragon he dreamed of was overturned by a piece of arm or a piece of armor. Jian Wushuang gently placed it on his right arm. The huge attraction came from the origin of the beast god. Zhulong's arm merged with Jian Wushuang's right arm, exploding with a powerful breath. His divine body climbed again. An uncontrollable force came from his right hand, causing blue veins on his forehead to burst. Boom! Jian Wushuang directly leaked the original face. The hideous pale face, white hair wafting. The candle dragon's wings opened directly. He made a slight fist with his right hand and finally suppressed the force. The entire right arm turned dark red, and the blood-colored claws could tear the space. His arm was 50,000 times broken unilaterally. The overall divine body increased from 40,000 times to 45,000 times. Amazing! Jian Wushuang held back his curiosity, looked around, and rushed towards Luo Chuan. The fourth prince, who was just surprised that Jian Wushuang killed his own brother, didn't react, and was directly squeezed by Jian Wuhua, and the source was swallowed by the huge suction in his palm. Rabbits and foxes don't understand the truth of sorrow, and they don't complain. The other fifth-order emperors on the field leaked expressions of fear. After Jian Wushuang got the arm of the candle dragon, his divine body skyrocketed, and his strength naturally rose a lot. But among these people, he is not the strongest. Don't worry, everyone, I'm just feuding against Mo Luogua. You have to go in lightly. Jian Wushuang made a request. Broly's father, Bukuan, was a little bit unbelievable, standing behind Broly, pulling Broly not to let him in. https:// Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication. Apex Novel Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 5429. Since you are not at ease, then I will go in first. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile, regained his appearance, hiding his identity. But when he looked at Bukuan, there was something wrong in his eyes. Bukuan recognized him, but the old guy was so smart that he didn't see it. Can't let it go. After I went in, all of you who couldn't get in were killed, especially the old guy. Jian Wu had a smile on both sides, but privately ordered the removal of all those who could not get in. The inability to enter shows that the strength is average. These fifth-order peak emperors should be able to easily sweep these people. Wow! Jian Wushuang entered the barrier. The stone statue froze for a moment, and its figure kept shrinking. It could be shrunk to a very small size. After a word appeared, it couldn't be smaller, but it was still different from Jian Wushuang's realm. In the end, Jian Wushuang was teleported away, and the stone statue did not make a move. This surprised many people. Bukun's father breathed a sigh of relief and whispered, "My son, my husband can't accompany you. Remember to follow the island owner after entering, and don't provoke others." Broly nodded, and then said something rare. "Father, be careful, I'm going." Wow! After Broly entered the enchantment, the stone statue regained the fighting power of the fifth-order emperor. Just a moment after the two sides fought, Broly easily smashed the stone statue, even more relaxed than Zhen Wuyang and others. Bukuan leaked a smile of relief. Fleeing from the heavens to the land, to the West Sea, Broly successfully joined the road. The movement was very loud, attracting the master of the Turtle Spirit Island, and was accepted as a disciple. With a big backing, Bukuan is also satisfied. He has been devoting himself to practicing, Broly's strength has broken through quickly, and his realm seems to be connected with Broly. The stronger Broly, the more he can break through. Faster. But one thing is very strange. When he was a third-order emperor, he was not as strong as the second-order peak. Now he is a fifth-order emperor, and his combat power is not as good as some fourth-order ordinary emperors. But the realm is up, but the combat power is getting weaker and weaker. The weaker the combat power, the stronger Broly, which is like a fate. This is the Tao of Change. When the outside world was no longer able to enter, there was a big battle, and everyone happened to fall in this battle, including Broly's father, Bukuin. Inside the Three Kings Hall, after Jian Wushuang entered, there was a passage in front of him, which was long and narrow. Countless steps and links lead to the deepest point. Jian Wushuang looked at him, and he could only see the 10th step at most. There were some accidents, but I didn't think much about it and stepped straight up. A piece of information began to pass into his mind. It was some kind of powerful jerk. Is this? Jian Wushuang frowned. A short and very brief genius. Jian Wushuang could understand the kind at a glance. It was very simple. Jian Wushuang didn't want to comprehend, and after quickly mastering it, he set foot on the second step. At a glance, there was a message in my mind. This time it was a little harder than last time, but it was solved in the blink of an eye. The two can also be linked. This is a fundamental knowledge about the airway. Jian Wushuang continued to move forward. Just after entering the third step, a person appeared behind him. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and the figure disappeared. Is it him? Jian Wushuang thought of Broly he had seen in the Shangqing Palace. Disappeared directly? This is too fast. Even if it's simple, you have to pause. The opponent rushed directly, and after the 10th order, he couldn't see the front, and he didn't know how fast the opponent was. Anyway, this 10th order is just a blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang was a little self-doubt. Is the opponent too fast, or he is too slow? This is too bad. Is this the Tao of Change? Jian Wushuang's heart was shocked. Extreme Tao encompasses all things and all things, but when these ways are transformed into the power of all things, he also feels very strange, but he hasn't understood the rules contained in it until now. Perhaps the answer could be found from Broly. Jian Wushuang's eyes were low. Keep going. A quarter of an hour later, he saw a figure appear in front of him. He is a 6th-order emperor, who looks like a strong man on the side of the Turtle Spirit Island owner, wearing a high crown and a face like white jade. It's the White Emperor. The body is a sea lion, which is quite famous in the West Sea, but its strength is much worse. It belongs to the kind of high-profile but incompetent powerhouse. It's just Tier 6 ordinary. Click! Jian Wushuang quickly caught up with the opponent. Yep. Bai Huang turned his head and looked around, and he also found Jian Wushuang. It was embarrassing for him to fall in the end. Even Broly, the disciple of Guiling Island Lord, surpassed him, and now he was surpassed by Jian Wushuang again, making his expression slightly changed. Jian Wushuang ignored him at all and passed by. The body here does not have any supernatural power, and it is impossible to attack others at all. Otherwise, you really have to be careful of these people. 1,700. Jian Wushuang once again encountered a 6th-order emperor who was still a strong man on the side of the Guiling Island Lord. After walking so far, Jian Wushuang finally understood his intentions. Walking here is more like comprehending a secret method. This secret method tests their souls. Jian Wushuang's soul power is not weak. Now, has also realized some of the beauty, the origin of the soul. It was the first time Jian Wushuang saw this kind of special origin. Moreover, the great power who created the secret method is probably still the strongest of the ultimate way, because the origin contained in it is too powerful. has the ultimate meaning. Jian Wushuang was sure that this existence was definitely a mighty person at the master level of the universe. The more you go up, Jian Wushuang's soul can be stronger. Combining with the previous comprehension, now he has begun to grasp part of the soul origin. In his sea of all things, the strongest is still Kendo, but the soul of the soul has evolved from a drop of water to a pool of water. Call. 2,000 orders. Finally, he felt a sense of stagnation. It's time to stop and practice hard. The growth of the soul is crucial for him to improve his realm. Extreme C, Jian Wushuang, whose soul strengthened, began to melt the broken origins floating in the sea of origins. Pieces are like crystals, continuously integrating and releasing. He himself is constantly becoming stronger. There is no bottleneck in the last 3 layers of Jidao. The only difficulty is how to digest these original crystals that are not integrated with the original sea. At first they were fragments, but now they have condensed into submarine reefs. It became a stumbling block for his breakthrough. If these reefs are not removed, sooner or later he will suffer from the above losses. Cultivation is like a flat boat floating in the sea. It can resist strong winds and waves. And finally, it will be bad when it touches the scorch. So if you want to go more smoothly, you have to melt these reefs. But now he has less than 1 level of integration, and there are still 90% of the follow-up. https:// Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication. Apex Novel Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 5430. The key, too, is still the tip of the iceberg, and more crystals are on the bottom of the sea. His soul realm to the extreme may not be able to integrate all. This needs spatial help. Once the space realm reaches the black hole, he can quickly swallow these crystals and fuse them. Carry on. Although the flies are small, they are also fleshy. If his soul does not improve once, he can merge a lot of crystals, and his strength is more pure. For the first time, I walked 2,000 steps in one breath. This time, he walked 800, has caught up with the Emperor of the Sky Toad, the top emperor of the 6th rank. It's nothing to catch up with these people. The heirs never came in and haven't seen one yet. Even Broly has never seen his back. Their speed may be faster than him. Although they came in a while earlier, they wouldn't leave him so far. The higher the soul realm, the farther you can see. Now, he can see clearly the soberness in the previous 100 steps. Was once muddled, but now his eyes are like thunder and lightning. Continue to practice cross-legged to improve the extreme ocean. So, repeatedly, after leaving, I don't know how long, Jian Wushuang finally met an acquaintance. The 10,000 star god. There is still 104 orders from Wanqing. Jian Wushuang is happy in his heart. I haven't seen it for thousands of years, since the original star. Now, the other party has not only succeeded in rapport, but it also seems to have been apprenticed to Situ Nan. And now the chaos is rising. Situ Nan is the deputy head of the law enforcement hall of the Senate's palace. His strength is comparable to that of the highest level. He has tremendous power in the heavens. After Situ Nan is a teacher, he basically walked sideways in the heavens. But now Wanqing has become more and more restrained, no longer domineering, replaced by a low-key aura, just like a normal practitioner. Step by step, each step will be understood for a long time, and then stepped again. Jian Wushuang quickly caught up with him, turned his head and glanced at Wanqing without any expression, directly surpassing the past. Seeing Jian Wushuang overtake, Wanqing was a little surprised, but only surprised, and then continued to be immersed in the secrets of comprehension. 5,000 steps. Snapped. When Jian Wushuang stepped in, his figure flashed and disappeared in place. Here, the ages have changed. Before Jian Wushuang could react, he heard a simple voice, which turned out to be an ancient language he understood. Practitioner. If you can reach the 5,000 level, it means that your soul has reached the threshold of the 30,000 Temple Heavenly Sovereign, and you can choose any of the Taoist methods here. Jian Wushuang saw the scenery in front of him clearly, a huge ancient hall with many thrones above it, and a huge head floating on the top, the appearance of a strange animal. Where did the sound come from? Reward a set of methods? Jian Wushuang leaked joy. Changed belongs to a very special source way, even rarer than the ultimate way. There are even fewer ways to change the way. Although he is not a practitioner of the Tao of Transformation, there is something in the extreme Tao, and the Tao of Transformation can change everything, no matter what he cultivates. He can practice the Tao of Transformation. This is very similar to Ji Dao, but Ji Dao encompasses everything, and Change Dao changes everything, and there is essentially a gap. God and demon refining body. Jian Wushuang took a piece of jade slip from the nearest throne and looked at it carefully. This is a simplified version, is about body refining, which is similar to body refining in the demon space. He doesn't need this. Took a look and put it back. Magic pupil. Various methods of Jian Wushuang gave up after a glance, which was not very suitable. These thrones seem to have an order. The more forward, the stronger the method. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry, looking at them one by one. I saw tens of thousands of methods. If these methods are taken out, I am afraid that the true spirits will appear. No wonder King Bai said that the Temple of Three Kings was comparable to the Temple of Qishan in ancient times. Is really extraordinary. There are so many methods at this level. And this kind of method, it seems that the lowest is created by the most powerful. At the top, there are more than 10 methods of Wangsua Mountain. Jian Wushuang has no permission to see. Practitioner, the method above requires you to reach 10,000 steps before you can choose it. Jian Wushuang stepped back, respectfully clasping his fists and saluting. The juniors don't need anything for the time being. I want to continue walking. It is good. The giant beast opened his big mouth and swallowed Jian Wushuang directly. Keep going. Most of the he got are not average. Tianma Gong is a method of the highest level. He hasn't cultivated to consummation now, and he doesn't bother to cultivate this level of faculty anymore. If you want to learn the strongest, the average person really doesn't like it. Keep going. Not long after this time, I met an acquaintance, but it's not too familiar, is a fifth-order pinnacle emperor of the Yuan Palace. Also let him meet several in a row. These old guys who have lived for countless years realized that they did not lose to Wanxing. Looked back, Wanxing Tiandi was just 200 steps behind him. The higher the soul realm, the clearer the eyes. After 5,000 steps, he can even see the scene beyond 300 steps. And after going to the present, he found that the fragments of information received, linked together, turned out to form a simple soul secret method. Slightly adjusted, the whole person was shocked. A soul Dao origin rose, and there was an extra force in the palm of his hand. The power of soul Dao is very special, similar to change Dao. Jian Wushuang secretly guessed that among the three kings in the Three Kings Palace, one of the three kings might be the king who cultivated the origin of the soul. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so generous, attaching his soul Dao secret method to the steps along the way. This secret method can be roughly divided into 5 layers under Jian Wushuang's careful distinction. He is almost at the 7,000th level now, and he hasn't even mastered it the first time. I'm afraid I won't be able to get started until you reach the 10,000 floor. This is even more demanding than change. The threshold of the change path is to walk 5,000 steps. However, it is normal. The change path requires 5,000 levels because it is not his own major cultivator. Gillen Island Lord Jian Wushuang saw another figure in front of him. It is the Turtle Island Master, who can walk here at such a fast speed. The sixth order peak powerhouse is really extraordinary. Even if the origin is flawed, the soul is not flawed. After Jian Wushuang Super came up, Turtle Island Lord didn't care at all and steadily stepped forward. 5,000 orders. He also went to the eternal change. There he learned something shocking, the origin of the defect. His origin turned out to be flawed. In the 4 great secret realms, many superpowers have this recognition. Because they can no longer improve, they will doubt themselves. Like the Turtle Island Lord, he hasn't reached the true peak among the emperors, and obviously doesn't have this knowledge. Now that I understand, there are disappointments and surprises. What is happy is that there are secret methods in the eternal changes that can help him restore his original source. Jian Wushuang's origin has no flaws, and he doesn't understand them. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 54:31. Seeing that the other party has been immersed in it, he did not say hello and continued to move forward. Soul Road Secret Method. This secret method is given to them for free, and it is also considered the strongest secret method, but the complete secret method that you want to obtain is estimated to be finished. After reaching the 8,000th floor, Jian Wushuang found that he could see the scene outside the 800 level. 9,000 floors is 900 steps. Thousands of layers are 1,000. He didn't know whether this was related to the soul's secret method or the soul realm. 9,999 floors. 7 emperors stopped here. These 7 people are all powerhouses in the Yuan Lao Palace. There are Situnan at the 6th order peak, and there are some emperors at the 5th order peak. From ancient times to the present, their realm may not be high, but in their souls, they are much stronger than their inheritors. I just don't know why I stopped here. Said it was stronger than the inheritor, but with the shadow of the inheritor, he also saw Wan Xing alone, and Wan Xing had been behind him, not much weaker than him. The soul is stronger than the inheritor, but the speed of comprehending the secret method is not as fast as the inheritor. This is an indisputable fact. Otherwise, why would the real spirit cultivate them? After digging out a universe, these inheritors were selected, and among the inheritors who entered this place, the weakest 10,000 stars were able to rank in the top 1,000 among the inheritors, is stronger than some ultimate ways. Not all ultimate beings will become Taoists or emperors against the sky. There are some inheritors who have mastered the ultimate way. Now, they are not even Daojun. They are stuck in the 5th and 6th level, and they can improve. Is also the first batch of ultimate existences. The cultivation has been accumulated for too long, and then it exploded after encountering the Temple of Forbidden God. Each became a Taoist monarch, and then began to seek breakthroughs. But even for this group of people, there are not many who can practice the ultimate path to consummation. At present, it seems that Hui Qing has succeeded in the harmony alone with a satisfactory attitude. Jian Wushuang is a group of people who have mastered the ultimate way very early, and now the 8th level is also the first group. Ji Dao has no bottlenecks. Once he masters the realm of the black hole, he can quickly reach consummation. Hadao is also coming soon, but he has not made any preparations for Hadao. This time, let's see if we can make some profit from this place. Prepare for Hadao. When Hui Qing joined the Dao, he was looking at it. There are so many treasures and a glimpse of the power contained in the spirit spring. I am afraid that every 100 billion cubic meters of sacred stone cannot be obtained. This is not a star, but a square. After scouring Tian, Nan clean, he couldn't get so many sacred stones. This was just a glimpse of Linquan, and there were many treasures that he couldn't see. The most important thing is the sight. The place is very lucky, and it is probably the habitat of a universe lord. He is not lucky enough to enjoy this kind of place with good time and place. Originally thought that true spirit would also prefer him, but because of Queeman's affairs, it was considered good if he was not removed, and he did not dare to ask for it. After stepping on the 9,999 floor, Jian Wushuang realized why so many powerful people are trapped here. This place is really extraordinary. The secret method of the soul is not difficult. It took him a month to comprehend and understand, but the next chess game stumped him. In the original space, an illusory figure appeared. This person's complexion is blood red, his hair is messy, and he wears a black robe embroidered with golden runes. He is a little fat, uncut, and his eyes are like copper bells. This made Jian Wushuang think of the Hades in the mundane world. Ordinary people will really be shocked when they see it. Hey, kid, let's accompany the old man in the next game. The entire space turns into a chessboard, and the two face each other far away. War chess. Jian Wushuang groaned for a while, first respectfully see you, and then began to think. He understood the rules of the game through description, but he didn't have the skills. War chess, there are no pieces. All the chess pieces are condensed in space. Jian Wushuang learned that the opposite person condensed a chess piece, which is a wooden path. Wood road, the spirit of heaven and earth, the spiritual root of the 5 elements. It's a good game, but it's a problem to fall there. Fortunately, he has the Ji Dao and knows where the wood Dao origin is to be used. Mizuki, Jian Wushuang placed a piece and landed the wooden chess piece on the border of the 2 on the chessboard, where there is a natural river. The old man, Yan Wang, brightened his eyes and said with joy, "Little guy, interesting." The he had just condensed had been held in his hand. Jian Wushuang didn't even know what it was. Snapped. Guangdao chess pieces landed on the darkest corner of the chessboard, where Jian Wushuang's chassis was originally illuminating half of the chessboard in an instant. Jian Wushuang also learned a lot, but he found that every time the opponent countered. After pondering for a while, Jian Wushuang shook it in the void, and 2 chess pieces appeared in his hand. First, he played a Lei Dao origin and placed it on the edge of the opponent's light Dao chess piece. The lightning flashed, and the sky was dark. Yep, the old man of Yama was a little surprised, and he couldn't tell for a while. After thinking for a while, he grabbed a piece from the original space and gathered a chess piece. Yangdao origin. The light path cooperates with the sun path, forming a hot star. Can this happen? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Can you play like this? Around this point, Jian Wushuang started a long way to crack. Raiden cultivates electric roads and forms the world of thunder and lightning. The opponent is adding chips, and he is constantly investing. Dark road, thunder road, electric road, rain road, wind road, eventually condensed the destruction Dao, and once again evolved into a black hole. Jian Wushuang's road widened. No matter how big the light is, where can I go? Jian Wushuang leaked joy. Is going to win. But right here, the old man Hades leaked a smile. The little guy in front of him is definitely very interesting, and he is not ready to release the water. Most of the people who had passed by came to this point and won. Jian Wushuang doesn't know. Snapped. Fell in one go. There are 9 planets around the hot stars, and a river is formed around them. This, Jian Wushuang, was dumbfounded. He didn't even understand the black hole, but the other party crossed the universe and directly opened up a long river of time and space. How can I play this? He never thought that it would be like this, and he began to doubt himself. Other people can pass. Why can't I get to him? I lost. Jian Wushuang shook his head, a little lonely. The old man, Yin Wang, was very happy and smiled lightly. Little guy, don't worry, let's continue. Just like that. In this space, Jian Wushuang was trapped by the opponent, but he finally got free after many years. From the black hole in the first game to the black hole engulfing the universe in the back, it really made him understand the complex structure of the universe. But it is not easy for the universe to win against each other, and Jian Wushuang walks wider behind. At first, he didn't pay attention to one city and one place. Instead, he first drew a line, opened the world with one line, and drew a starry sky before he defeated the opponent head-on. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5432. The moment the old man Hades lost, he was stunned. There was no unwillingness after failure in his eyes, but aftertaste. You won. The old man of Yama took away the space, and the figure disappeared. Left a sentence before leaving. The old man sent you a sentence. Go on your own way, and don't doubt yourself, because you defeated a once remarkable existence today, and you are proud to go on. Jian Wushuang is a little puzzled. What does it mean to win in chess? When he leaves this space, he realizes it is instant enlightenment because of the insights when playing chess. All realized became a fact. He really understood everything that followed. At least the realm of the black hole is not as blurred as it once was. The Dharma body of the deep black hole shuttles faster. The realm is constantly rising, and the reefs in the Sea of Origin are also shattered one by one. In this game, Jian Wushuang is probably the one who has received the most. Because the old man of Hades would release water, he almost let others pass. When I arrived at Jian Wushuang, I thought Jian Wushuang was a bit interesting, so I was immersed in it, but he didn't expect that he would really win in the end. Jian Wushuang took the last step and reached the 10,000th order. There is no one in the place he sees now, and he doesn't know how long he has been stuck here. After reaching the 10th rank, his figure disappeared again. Change through the ages. Jian Wushuang didn't understand the meaning. He guessed that it should be related to change Dao. After arriving at the familiar hall, the huge alien beast had said again, "Practitioner, choose the method." This time he didn't waste time and went straight to the highest point. On more than 10 thrones, there are jade scrolls instead of jade slips. Looks different from those geniuses. Jian Wushuang walked directly to the main position and took down the scroll. The 3 eye-catching characters, Eternal Change, at the top is the same as the name of the hall. It was so easy to get the strongest secret of this hall. Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. Eternal Changes. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes. As he thought, it was not that simple. The eternal transformation here is only the Hinayana mystery. Tianjun can practice, is not a treasured secret, has changed through the ages, and what it contains is almost the same as the name. The Hinayana realm can reach the level of eternal change, allowing the divine body or the origin to change. After the change, of course, it is an increase. In the early stage of Theravada, there are still ancient changes and first changes. The first change is an increase of 10%, the ancient change is an increase of 10 times, and the eternal change is 100 times. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang is overjoyed. His current divine body has beasts and divine weapons that can be augmented. The origin has the power of all things, and there is no need for augmentation, but there are methods for augmentation, and he will not be stingy. Once the power of everything increases, he can't imagine how strong it will be. Did not come in vain. Jian Wushuang rejoiced. Seeing Jian Wushuang set the stage for eternal change, the head of the strange beast said, "Have you chosen?" "You have chosen." Jian Wushuang nodded. The head of the alien beast, that had no emotion at all reminded a little unexpectedly. You have to think about it. The secret method above this can be cultivated to the realm of Mahayana. Although it has become stronger through the ages, it can be cultivated, the Hinayana realm. The younger generation now lacks the secret method of eternal change, and don't consider other things. Jian Wushuang shook his head, very firm. What he wants is not what suits him, but what he lacks. There are many more suitable for him, but those suitable are just icing on the cake and cannot improve much, not as good as the most lacking. Moreover, with such secrets as the eternal change, I am afraid that he will be able to increase himself even as an emperor. The Hinayana realm, enough for him to use the emperor. He doesn't have too many extravagances. There will be better ones in the future. You can leave now. After was swallowed by the head of the alien animal again, 2 paths appeared in front of Jian Wufang. There is also a list above. Soul Dao inheritance. First, Tongtian Buddha second, Zhen Wuyang third, Huiqing Jiangshang fourth, Situ Nan fifth, Guiling Island Lord ninth, Gong Miaoi inheritance of change path. First, Broly second, Chishui Walker third, the 10,000 star Emperor seventh, Emperor Tianchan. There are 16 strong players in total. 9 of them chose the Soul Dao inheritance, and the other 7 took the Change Dao, change the combat power pursued by the Dao. While the Soul Dao is more stable, forging the foundation and broadening the horizon, the powerhouses who choose Soul Dao have almost enough combat power and want to go further. Zhen Wuyang, Tongtian Buddha, and Guiling Island Lord are very consistent. Especially the Guiling Island Master, the picture is bigger. If you want to break through and reach the top, you must accumulate slowly. If Jian Wushuang chooses these 2 ways, he will also choose Soul Dao inheritance. The first step is the Soul Dao ladder. Jian Wushuang really wants to walk through it all the time and obtain the complete Soul Dao secret technique. You have a choice. I don't have a choice. Jian Wushuang shook his head helplessly. Then his body changed for a while, and he turned into 2 people directly. Clone. Anyone can conceive a clone, but the clone of the emperor is the Dharmakaya, so there is power in nothing. Jian Wushuang is different. He can not only divide the body, but also divide the origin. His original Dao and his physical body have been refined 10 times, and they have been thoroughly integrated. With his current source strength, it can be divided into several clones that are similar in strength to the deity. It's just that the clone hasn't cultivated the unique knowledge, and it still lacks the powerful treasure, and its strength is a bit weak. If there is no beast weapon and heavenly magic power, he will have the fighting power of a 4th-order emperor. Too many points are useless. After becoming an emperor, it's different. When the time comes, any source clone will have the power of a 6th-order emperor. At that time, he was truly terrifying. One person can be transformed into a group of 6th-order emperors, which is much stronger than the clone of the mountain monarch. 2 inheritance channels, he wants them all. Choose. That is reserved for the weak. 2 figures entered the passage together. The rankings that can be seen on the channel have also changed. The last one is the name of Jian Wushuang. After went in, Okanshu. Calm Jian Wushuang found one thing, he exposed it. I can't change it. But it's nothing, it's exposed. In the passage of the Soul Dao inheritance, Huiqing, who was ranked 3rd, was still walking hard. When he was breathing, he glanced at the row and was stunned. Jian Wushuang. Huiqing suddenly turned her head and whispered in a low voice, Brother Wushuang? He was overjoyed. Ever since he met Jian Wushuang in the black hole, he was determined that Jian Wushuang was still alive. He didn't expect to encounter him here. Must have also come in from that black hole. After seeing the name, Jiangshan, who was standing next to him, had a fear from the bottom of his heart and even his original spirit was trembling. He eats kids, some clumsy grass, and would spirits originally lay on Jiangshang's shoulder and screamed into sleep. After seeing Jian Wushuang's name, he exclaimed and hit directly into Jiangshang's body. Hui Qing didn't have too many accidents, but Jiangshang became vigilant. After entering this passage, the disguise on Jian Wushuang was gone, and now it was a naked soul floating. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 54:33. The power of all things, the power of devouring, the power of mind. The three surround the whole body. Fortunately, the power of all things is the power of heaven and earth. Devouring is not the case, not only the destruction in the black hole, but also the evil aura that swallows all sentient beings. Compared with others, the mind power of the mind is stronger. These are enough to scare ordinary practitioners. Tongtian Buddha and Zhen Wuyang walking in the front also saw Jian Wushuang's name. Fortunately, Tongtian Buddha didn't know much about Jian Wushuang. Zhen Wuyang was very happy. Jian Wushuang explained here that he was still alive, and this time he brought Jian Wushuang back to the Tomb Mountain. Situ Nan from the Yuan Palace was overjoyed. When he came, he received the notice from above that he would encounter the missing Jian Wushuang here, and asked him to give Jian Wushuang a piece of jade slip. After coming in for so long, he has not found Jian Wushuang. He thought Jian Wushuang had fallen, but he did not expect to hide so deeply. There is one other person besides Jian Wushuang, Broly. The former is an order from the real spirit, and the latter is a death order from the bottom of Wuzhua. The county magistrate is not as good as the current one. When he came, Broly was the first to look for, and he kept staring secretly after he found it. Broly's matter, Wuzhua has been concealing and not telling the public. The notice to Situ Nan is also a simple description, looking for this person in the land boundary. I didn't expect to meet here, and he was lucky, and now he found Jian Wushuang again. It can be said that it was a double happiness. This time I went back and had a relationship, but Wu's request is even greater. A practitioner who changes the way, or an indigenous emperor in the 4 great secret realms, once handed over to the true spirit, it will be a great contribution. I am afraid that the Senator Palace will also make an exception. Jian Wushuang didn't know that his appearance would surprise so many people. The passage of Soul Dao inheritance is the same as when it came, no surprise. There are some novelties in the change road. He will change away without stepping up a step, has mastered the origin of all things. He walks the fastest, probably much faster than Broly. There are still very few steps in the change road, a total of 10,000 steps. Jian Wushuang walked 100 steps in a quarter of an hour, surpassing the last one. The speed behind is even more unabated, rushing forward all the time. Soon reached the top 3, surpassing Chishui Walker. Chishui's heart was shocked. The person in front of him was familiar, but he didn't seem to have seen it here. After entering the Temple of Chishan, he encountered too many things and people, and he couldn't remember it for a while. The tens of millions of practitioners in the Chishui Temple at the beginning were familiar with them, and they were pretty good, and many of them were selectively forgotten. So I didn't care too much and kept walking forward. Jian Wushuang walked fast enough here, but still couldn't see Broly's shadow. He can see the first 2,000 stone steps clearly now, and there are 4,000 steps after he left, but he still can't see Broly. The opponent has at least reached 6,000 steps. In other words, the other party has transformed 6,000 origins. This is also terrible. He said the past of all things, illusion of all things. Why the other party? Is it true that the change is so against the sky? After thinking about it, He understood a little bit. When the old man with horns looked back to find someone, he was probably looking for Broly. Can make the old horned man go back desperately, either under Wu's order or under the real spirit's order. If it is true spirit, I am afraid I will go in person. High probability is still Wuzuo's command. Can make the disciples of Chishin care so much. I am afraid that change is stronger than he imagined. One of the kings in the Hall of Three Kings is the change path of cultivation, which is enough to explain the problem. Practicing the Tao of Change and being able to reach the level of the Three Kings, one can imagine the speciality of the Tao of Change. This passage, I am afraid that Broly is the most suitable, and I am afraid that he will be taken away by the Senate after going out. Jian Wushuang continued to move forward. The changes in his body were obvious every time. From the simplest ordinary road to the extremely complex synthetic origin. For example, water and fire are one, forming a yin and yang, or they have reached the limit of destruction, and their body has turned into a black hole. Every time after the transformation, Jian Wushuang carefully experienced the mystery. There is only one thing, and one can transform everything. Among the mysteries, Jian Wushuang needs to be solved one by one and repeated to understand. In cultivation, he must be foolproof. Jideo's promotion, that's what is needed. One must understand the rules in all things. All things, all things. Jian Wushuang thought of the mystery of myriad tribulations that Xuanyi once gave him. I didn't feel that much when I read it at first, but now he continues to walk down. But he finds that the disaster in all things is more than that simple. Every road comes to an end. There is disaster. Is like the causal killing in him. He really killed a lot of people when the devouring power was at its strongest. The evil karma on his body was very strong, which affected his luck, and he needed to resolve it. Is resolved before joining the Tao and transformed into Qi luck. Otherwise, this is really a killing. Compared with the change road, the soul road walks more smoothly. The path of the soul road is a secret law against the sky. Every level is comprehending one of the links. As long as the comprehension understands, you can go on forever. 2 ways, 1 soul way, and 1 change way. The Three Kings Court should be 3 kings. Why there are only 2 ways? Jian Wushuang was a little puzzled. He still remembers the red-faced old man. Chess pieces. That special memory made Jian Wushuang some understand. On a special chessboard, he merged everything and finally won the old man. From the chessboard, he has a new understanding of everything. Compared with these 2 passages, the chessboard may have improved him more. 3 kings. Jian Wushuang would not be willing to ask for 1, but to walk the limit of 3 paths. Only in this way can we get the true core inheritance of the Three Kings Court. How long? Since entering the great wilderness, every time he passed on, he was crushed by others, and he almost lost his confidence. This time the inheritance of the Three Kings Court, no matter what come, he will get it. He Dao has a vague cognition, but nothing has been prepared yet. He needs the opportunity here to help him reach the limit and then join the road. The Three Kings Court was also the pinnacle power in ancient times, not much weaker than Chishin Temple. How can a person who dare to fight against the gods be an ordinary strong person? Each of the 2 roads moved forward, and Jian Wushuang continued to surpass. On the Soul Road, even catching up with Zhen Wuyang. When the 2 passed by, they just nodded and didn't talk too much. Now that the identity has been recognized, there is no need to hide it. Zhen Wuyang looked at Jian Wushuang's back, feeling a little uncomfortable in his heart. The Yanxian who was exiled by him in the wilderness has grown to this point now. In the enlightenment of Soul Dao's secret law, he even surpassed him. Yep, the ranking on the wall suddenly changed. the Emperor Tian was moved away. Jian Wushuang was also a little surprised. He originally thought that he could go on walking if he had time, but now it seems that he understood it wrongly and still has a request. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5434. Heaven Toad Emperor was on the path of change. He was even removed. Obviously, it was impossible to reach the end. The bigger reason was that it took too long, and his intelligibility was removed. Jian Wushuang on the two passages began to reduce time and seek faster speed. Especially on the Seoul Road. Didn't go up one floor. He received a lot of goods, and if it was removed, he would lose a lot. Soon, someone was moved away again. The Sixth Order Emperor on the side of the Guiling Island Lord, except for the Guiling Island Lord, have all been removed, followed by some Fifth Order Emperors in the Yuan Lao Palace. On the Seoul Road ladder, Jian Wushuang has already walked 20,000 steps. On the Change Road, he also walked 8,000 steps. But I still didn't see Broly. Is probably over. Mastering the path of change. It's not difficult to finish 10,000 steps. Jian Wushuang can finish everything by mastering everything, let alone Broly, who specializes in change. The key is still the soul. After 20,000 steps, I finally saw the backs of Huiqing and Jiangshang. Looking from behind, the two walked side by side. Step by step, the pace is steady, obviously not reaching the limit. Depending on the location, it should be around 27,000 steps. Now that he hasn't seen the Tongtian Buddha, it is very likely that the other party has passed the 30,000 stairs. Change Dao has 10,000 steps, and it is not clear how many steps Sword Wushuang there are in Seoul Dao. At least now, he hasn't even seen the first position. Tongtian Buddha, who walked the Tongtian Avenue, could surpass them so much, Jian Wushuang was still a little surprised. Jian Wushuang would not think so if he knew the inheritance of the Tongtian Buddha. This is also the reason why Jin Wuyang and Qi Shui don't care. Tongtian Buddha was on the Tomb Mountain and received a cosmic secret inheritance. The soul has been promoted. Even the soul mark was embedded in the origin of the Lord of the Universe to experience the power of the Lord of the Universe. This kind of opportunity has naturally benefited the Tongtian Buddha infinitely, surpassing Jin Wuyang and others in one fell swoop. This time by chance, he is one of the most capable people. Broly, needless to say. The special source Dao, which is rarer than the ultimate Dao, is a great luck to be able to go to the Three Kings Court, is the emperor who is most hopeful of inheriting the King of Change. There is no one, and Jian Wushuang has little hope of competing with him. Other people are even more hopeless. On the Seoul Road, Tongtian Buddha is the #1 seed. Hai Yiqing and Jiangshang are the rest. Jian Wushuang looked at the back of the two, and suddenly felt that Jiangshang had an inexplicable attraction. Very powerful. That power does not seem to belong to her. This person, he remembers. I saw it once when I was at the blood sacrifice of Chaos Territory, but I didn't expect it to be an emperor now. Was just a mortal back then. Not many years have passed. Only a few thousand years, from a mortal to an emperor. This is a bit exaggerated. At that time, he was comparable to the Third Order Emperor, and now he is comparable to the Fourth Order Peak. With all the means used, he can also fight the Fifth Order Emperor. Compared with the other party, it doesn't seem to be against the sky. Thousands of years have entered the Emperor from the commonplace. He has never even heard of it. The reason why he was able to climb so many levels was because of the power of Ji-Dao. He had realized the origin of space in advance, and he had gone a long way. Second, it is because of the magical beasts and demons' unique knowledge. Raised his divine body to the limit of Dao Jun, able to fight against the Fifth Order Emperor. Otherwise, it won't be so against the sky to fight the Fifth Order Emperor. Jian Wushuang brows slightly, And I don't know when Jin Wuyang actually caught up with him again. The two didn't pull apart too much, and they kept maintaining about 200 steps. Is now less than 10 orders different. He didn't dare to think anymore. He went to the limit to comprehend the secret method and move forward with all his strength. Immerse yourself in it, and time will flow faster. In a blink of an eye, 100,000 years. 100,000 years have passed since they entered the palace of the three kings. In the 50,000th year, Broly was the first to pass through the path of change and completed the 10,000 steps. In the first 10,000 years, Jian Wushuang also finished 10,000 steps. It's just that when he finished walking, there was no one behind him, and they were all moved away. After walking the 10,000 steps, the appearance of the summit was different from what he had imagined. Summit. There is only one void step, and one person sits cross-legged on top. When Jian Wushuang looked at the opponent, he saw a woman, but in the blink of an eye, the opponent turned into an old man. The face of the other party changes with his thoughts. He will appear what he wants. Even when he sees that the other person is Xian Yi, shook his head. Jian Wushuang awoke for a while, and there was no figure on the steps. Snapped. Take one step forward. Has entered the 10,000 and first order. Everything changes. At this level, he realized what it means to be against the sky. After completing the 10,000 steps, he felt that he had grasped the essence of change, but after stepping into this step, he felt that the 10,000 steps ahead were gone. The secret method of eternal transformation is at this moment stepping into the limit. Jian Wushuang took a long breath, his whole body changed, and he roared, "Eternal change! Hum! All his precious treasures are in this body." The beast warrior exploded its power. Candle Dragon's wings opened and closed, slightly raised his arm. Jian Wushuang suddenly clenched his fist, and the dark red skin of Candle Dragon's arm burst. Through the ages, the increase is the origin. His origin is very strong originally. This increase directly makes his divine body a little unable to support it. Hurriedly urged the beast magical weapon to more than 30,000 times the body before barely supporting it. Now, his origin has the power of half a black hole, is surrounded by countless stars. More than 30,000 times can support the origin. You need to know that the Fifth Order Emperor's divine body only has more than 30,000 points, and he can support his origin at will. His divine body is more than 30,000 times, and even the origin of Dao Jun is about to burst the divine body. It's worth it. However, the stronger the better. No one will dislike the secret method is too strong. If there is too weak to support the secret method. He hasn't used the heavenly demon art yet. Once he uses the heavenly demon art, he can reach more than 40,000 times the divine body, which is enough for him to use the eternal transformation. Originally thought it would be difficult to cultivate, but he didn't expect that after reaching this step, he could directly enter the Hinayana realm, and it would directly become eternal transformation. Reached the Hinayana realm, waiting for any reaction from him. His figure disappeared on the steps and was removed, changed the way, and cleared the level. There was only a flash before his eyes, and he arrived in a brightly lit hall. Many people gathered here at this time, but the only thing I am familiar with is the 10,000 Star Emperor. The rest are the Fifth Order Emperors who can't make it through the chess game, and of course the Sixth Order Emperors on the side of the Turtle Island Master. Qishui Walker is also here. Jian Wushuang is now restored to his true appearance. Anyway, he is from the East Universe, so he still has to say hello. It's been a long time since I heard that you were killed in the heavens, I thought. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5435. After a few greetings, he chatted with the 10,000 Star Emperor about the Two Mountain and then began to talk about this hall. These people arrived tens of thousands of years earlier than him, much more than he knew. It's just that some people have been sitting cross-legged in the hall to practice and ignored his arrival. Wanqing smiled lightly. Brother Wushuang, here is not as complicated as we thought. Look at the mural on the wall. Jian Wushuang is not a fool, and he understands it at a glance. The description in the painting is very clear. 3 Kings Court captured a giant egg in a secret realm. Said it was a capture, rather than saying that a giant egg fell from the sky and fell into a secret territory within the forces of the 3 Kings Court. In the secret territory, there is a team of heavenly sovereigns, and the leader seems to be the 6th Order Emperor, and the breath Jian Wushuang on his body can be felt is at least the 6th Order peak powerhouse. He led a team of 10 people, each of whom was a Tier 5 peak emperor. Such an elite team, when they first encountered this egg, was killed by the secret rules on the surface of the eggshell. The inexplicable fall. Fortunately, in ancient times, when most powerful people went out, they used Dharmakaya. At that time, there were enough treasures and time to hold several epochs, throw in countless treasures, and refine a Dharma body comparable to the deity. So, some of these people did not fall, but the fallen Dharmakaya. Their deity quickly reported the news to the top. The Lord of the Universe directly under him didn't pay much attention at first, but just let one of the superpowers under his command go. This trip has attracted natural disasters. The first painting is finished. Wanqing pointed to another picture, and Jian Wushuang continued to look down. The second mural depicts a huge eye that leaked from the eggshell. The strongest man blasted the eggshell, and only one eye leaked out to suppress the strongest man, but he couldn't make a big kill. Is the master of the universe snatched the dome into the 3 Kings Court. Originally thought it was good luck, got an alien beast egg, and wanted to forcibly hatch it with a treasure. Did not expect to backfire. Not only did the dome fail to hatch, the strange beast in it almost died. When the alien beast was weak, a message came out. The news reached the stars. Leads to the coming of a powerful being. The master of the universe also suffered a backlash, lost his mind by the power of the rules on the eggshell, and started to slaughter his men. This scene caused the appearance of the king of the 3 Kings Court. Jian Wushuang has seen the king before, or everyone who has entered this place has seen it. Is the old chessboard man with tousled hair and dark red skin. His coming suppressed the Lord of the Universe. It is a pity that there were almost countless heavenly monarchs that fell. Under the command of a master of the universe, there are countless people. In addition to heavenly monarch and Tao monarch, the fall of hundreds of millions of people shakes the entire river of time and space. In a corner of the mural, there is also an old man with an elder corner on his head. The word Qi is embroidered on his robe. Is the overlord of the long river of time and space, the power of the gods. The old man at the corner means that the temple of Qishan is also reaching out to intervene. Jian Wushuang was very curious about the dome. This time he did not wait for Wanqing to say, and looked at the third mural. In the third painting, there is no description of the dome, but a collision with the old man with a corner. The old man at the corner, depending on being caught up by something, has always been scrupulous when dealing with the 3 Kings Court. However, it can be seen that the 3 Kings Court is very afraid of the old man at the corner. In ancient times, the 3 gods of the Qishan Temple were able to clean up the 3 Kings Court. The Lord of the Universe is also strong and weak. Strong like of confusion, one person can suppress the entire Morwa time and space. There are also weak ones. In the second mural, the master of the universe who is disturbed by the dome is obviously not good at the same level of strength. It's just that Jian Wushuang doesn't know the power division of the Lord of the Universe and can't figure out how big the power gap is. the old man with a corner in the mural finally retreated, and the three kings' court began to study the dome. But what followed is the arrival of a terrifying strong man. Just when they put the dome into the three kings' court, the stars came. Is exactly Fago. He led the army to come. Or he alone is an army of monks. Countless twisted reptiles separated from his body and stormed the three kings' court. At this time, the old man at the corner came again, but this time he had been in the corner of the mural without stepping forward. Fuego attacked the three kings' court, devastating all the way. No one can stop. Kept hitting the three kings. Are the bones they saw outside? Those are actually part of Fuego's body. If he sees the outside world now, he will be even more convinced. Because Fuego is devouring those bones, his strength is also rising. The deity of Shang was able to contend with the opponent from the beginning, but now it has fallen into the inferior. The outside world is even more chaotic. Unprecedented wars broke out on the Earth boundary. The chaotic areas of the southern sky collapsed, and countless strong men fell. Kamen started a big battle at this moment. This step is the result of millions of years of calculations by the gods. In the hall, the more Jian Wushuang looked back, the more shocked. The three kings gave up their lives, and Fuego, who had not resisted, was killed by the old man in the corner. That dome has also completely hatched, but it hurt the foundation before, and was born only half the power of the Lord of the Universe, but the realm is the Lord of the Universe. This is already comparable to those innate beasts and gods, born as the Lord of the Universe, extremely powerful. What hatched out of the dome was a dark golden dragon. Without Fuego's protection, the old man with the corners easily suppressed it. The final picture is a ruin. A line of emperors entered the three kings' court. There are Zhenyang, Tongtian Buddha, Qi Shui travelers, Situ Nan and Guiling Island Lord, and others. Jian Wushuang was completely shocked. This is a mural that predicts the future. In addition to these people, he also saw three people without faces, and even the genders could not be distinguished. Who do these three represent? Jian Wushuang pondered carefully, then thought of himself. He didn't see himself. And Haiking and that Jiangshang. There are no three of them. These three faceless people should be the three of them. Just why there is no face, Jian Wushuang doesn't know. After watching the mural, he couldn't calm down for a long time. This scene is the same as the others. Brother Wushuang, you, Huiqing, and Jiangshang did not show up. I think this opportunity is related to the three of you. There are exactly three kings in the three kings' court. Wan Xing pointed to the top three, without faces. The figure of the person with some emotion. His 10,000 paths are naturally related to the change path. And he chose the change path, but in terms of talent, he is incomparable to Jian Wushuang. And that Broly. Now he is only the fourth order peak, and it has long been gone. That arrogance. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5436. During the years when was on the tomb's sacred mountain, I had seen many Tao monarchs even more powerful than him. Even in the non-ultimate way, he is not in the top 10. Compared with the ultimate way, it is even more difficult to enter the top 500. Even if the weakest ultimate way, with the seventh level of the realm together, after success, the strength of the two will be comparable. Facing Wang Xing's loneliness, Jian Wushuang patted him on the shoulder and said firmly, "It's not that simple. The more uncertain things are, the less powerful will be entrusted to them." These words are also true. Just imagine who will pass on his own heritage to those who can see clearly. Jian Wushuang felt that Broly had the most hope for inheritance. In the mural, Broly is as barbarous as a beast, is very similar to the king of change. The king who changed his way, The deity is like a big mountain with countless tentacles squirming on the top. On the throne on the top of the mountain, the man sitting on the throne is very similar to Broly, especially the eyes are like white wax. Turning his head to look at Broly, who was sitting cross-legged in the corner, Jian Wushuang let out a jealous look. The power on the opponent's body seems to come from ancient times and is indestructible. Didn't talk with Wanqing for long. Although they were old friends, they didn't have much friendship. Just discussed each other. Jian Wushuang took a little bit. The once invincible 10,000-star heavenly emperor is now somewhat secular, and instead of the fierce and decisiveness he once had, he has a twilight spirit. This is not good. This kind of performance is only now available at the Fourth Order peak. The road in the future will be very difficult, just like that at the top of Tier 4, and it's good to get to Tier 5. From now on, it would be very difficult for Wanqing to reach the Sixth Order Emperor. But people's paths are different, like Huiqing one step to Yanxian, and then reached the 9th round of consummation in Primordial Star, and now he becomes the Emperor, and he has directly stepped out to become the ultimate Emperor of the 5th step, which is directly comparable to those of the 6th step the Peak Emperor is now. This is still comparable to the 6th Order Peak Emperors in the complete origin. I am afraid that Huiqing's realm now can be compared to Situ Nan, and his combat power is not much different. The powerhouse on the Change Road, except he and Broly cleared the customs. The others were all driven down halfway. Most of the masters of the Soul Road are still walking, which makes many people feel that they have chosen the wrong path. But it can increase the real combat power, which is far more real than the secret method on the Soul Road. Heavenly Toad Emperor. Originally only a Tier 6 top, now he can reach the top of Tier 6 with the use of Eternal Transformation, and he can compete with the Master of the Turtle Spirit Island. This is a qualitative change. The Soul Road chosen by the Turtle Spirit Island Master. After coming out, the strength has not changed, but the realm has been improved. One relies on change to make up for the incomplete source, and the two relies on the soul to repair the source. In Jian Wushuang's view, none of their choices was wrong. Heavenly Toad Emperor. His strength is just like that. Not only can he walk the Soul Road not far, he cannot repair his origin, and may eventually fail. It's not as secure as taking a change path. And the Guiling Island Master was originally the pinnacle of Tier 6. Even if the path of change is over, he has changed to the pinnacle of the Hinayana realm through the ages, and his strength has risen to the level of Situ Nan at most. But if he walks through the Soul Road, the Turtle Spirit Island owner has the hope of repairing the original source and being promoted to the highest level. Even if it is only a little hope, he can't give up. This is the tenacity of the practitioner. Do not give up, do not abandon. Jian Wushuang is the same. In the Soul Road, there are still several people walking now. The one who leads the most is Tongtian Buddha. Jian Wushuang is almost catching up with Huiqing, yet he still can't see the shadow of Tongtian Buddha. Now, they are all 60,000 steps. The forecast is 100,000 steps. Jian Wushuang can now see the 30,000 steps ahead. In the 30,000 steps behind, Shen Wuyang, Situ, Nan, Guiling Island Lord, and even Gong Miaoi still insisted. Now, there are only 8 of them left. Zhan Wuyang was originally in the top 2, but was surpassed by Huiqing and Jiangshang, and then surpassed by him. Now, he has fallen to 4th. Huiqing and Jiangshang don't know why. They are only one person. And Jian Wushuang is also very confused about this, is only about 100 steps away from Huiqing in front. Huiqing, who was walking in front, turned his head and saw Jian Wushuang. Can't speak only above this. The two are just facing each other, each nodding. Ding! The strong on the Soul Road began to disappear one after another, from the last Gong Miaoi to the master of Guiling Island, Situ Nan. At the forefront, Tongtian Buddha has reached its peak. Soul Dao ladder, shattered from the first step. Zhen Wuyang is now the last one, and everyone behind has been teleported away. Began to work hard. Teleported into the hall, Jian Wushuang saw the Tongtian Buddha being teleported in. The Tongtian Buddha, who was walking in the front, was teleported in, which shows that the Tongtian Buddha has completed the whole journey. Also saw Gong Miaoi at the same time. Jian Wushuang. Gong Miaoi lowered her head and muttered. She never thought that Jian Wushuang was the inheritor. Watching Jian Wushuang talk with Tongtian Buddha, I also know the true identity of Jian Wushuang. It's just that why Jian Wushuang mixed up with the people of Kemen, no one knows, but they are all smart people, and no one will take the initiative to pierce them. Junior Jian Wushuang, I met Hall Master Situ. Jian Wushuang bowed respectfully. Situ Nen had also seen Jian Wushuang, and he had been there to rescue him in the north. You don't need to be polite. I heard the Hall Master Wuzwa mentioned you. The death was also the negligence of my patriarch's palace. Situ Nen did not neglect because of Jian Wushuang's relationship with Kemen. The real spirit doesn't care. Does it need him to guess? Afterwards, Situ Nen spoke with a twist, took out a piece of jade slip, and handed it to Jian Wushuang with a gentle voice. Master True Spirit handed it to you. Jian Wushuang was overjoyed and quickly took the jade slip, but after seeing the content, he was a bit bitter. A very short sentence. If you want to go to the Tomb Mountain, find it yourself. Is this an atonement? Jian Wushuang sighed. Calm, but after knowing the other's attitude, he was relieved, and now it's not bad to be able to take him in. But going to the tomb's sacred mountain, there is no absolute strength, no certainty at all. Even if he is the inheritor, the keeper will not oppose him. What about those powerful special beings? He is not in harmony, and he has no chance to go to the Tomb Mountain. What can he do without the help of Tomb God Mountain? In the jade slip, there is also a simple inheritance. After seeing the inheritance, Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief, and the experience of the ultimate way of harmony is recorded on the top. It's okay. Gave him a chance. Is also taking care of him. But once he should have gone to the Tomb Mountain. Was captured by King Bai. He was also forced. Ugh. It's no use thinking more. The real spirit has spread the word, and he can only listen honestly. Almost 10 years have passed, and everyone has been teleported here. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 54:37. Jian Wushuang and Huiqing finally met. I've actually seen it many times, but I didn't have a chance to recognize each other. Brother Wushuang. Huiqing's eyes flashed. Jian Wushuang is also very happy. In the Temple of Qixin, the only person who has trouble and friendship is Huiqing, and he is a person who can be completely trusted. I haven't seen you in so many years. In a blink of an eye, almost 10,000 years have passed. The two set up an enchantment and began to talk about their experiences over the years. Jian Wushuang's own affairs, it's really hard to say. It can only be vaguely past. Huiqing also knows that he has had a hard time over the years and did not ask much. He learned something about the Tomb God Mountain from Huiqing. The Tomb Mountain is as cruel as the original star. On the primordial star, at least it is difficult for the Taoist to fall. Can be on the Tomb Mountain. These years, even the ultimate Taoist priest has fallen a lot. Comfortable environment is available everywhere, but it depends on the strength. The powerful emperor, just like Shang, there is no one who can threaten him in the Temple of Qixin, and he has gone to the long river of time and space, even explored the long river of time and space, beheading countless chaotic monsters of the Sixth Order, and even the most extreme. This long river of time and space has been walked almost once. After all, it is not like the ancient Moroa time and space, which is much stronger than their time and space river. Now, in this long river of time and space, the number of sixth-order emperors is not as good as the aboriginals of the four secret realms. It is also much higher in quality. In the long river of time and space, countless universes, there are many powerhouses born. A single round of Tier 4 monarchs is probably countless times more than the four great secret realms, but there's almost no difference between Tier 5 monarchs, and Tier 6 monarchs are not as good as the four great secret realms. From the perspective of Jian Wushuang, there are probably more than 10,000 of the sixth-order emperors in the Tiannan of the earth. There are at least thousands of people in a country like Daxia, plus some lonely sixth-order emperors. Tens of thousands are conservative. Hui Qing had an expression, remembering something, and quickly introduced, "Brother Wushuang, this is my disciple, Jiang Shang." Younger Jiang Shang has met Wushuang Sr. Jiang Shang leaked a smile, but at the bottom of his heart was prepared for Jian Wushuang. She has always felt that this person has some kind of evil aura, very similar to the murderer who killed her brother. Jian Wushuang knew about it for a long time, but he still leaked a surprised expression. That little novice, monk, once now has apprentices, and both the master and apprentice are the fifth-order peak emperors. But the first time I met, Jian Wushuang still took out a treasure from the mustard seeds as a meeting ceremony. Soul-locking jade he obtained from the opponent's mustard seeds by killing the great prince Emo Luo, which is also a rare treasure. The other party may not be able to look at it, but he is interested. Jian Wushuang handed this thing to Jiang Shang and smiled lightly. "You master and apprentice are both emperors now. Don't dislike it." Jiang Shang took the soul-locking jade, and after thanking him, he stopped talking. After a while, Zhen Wuyang also came over. Hui Qing quickly canceled the enchantment. Jian Wushuang. Zhen Wuyang lost the majesty he once had and replaced it with a gentle expression. Seeing the incoming person, Jian Wushuang hurriedly bowed and said respectfully, "I have seen the emperor." "You are polite. We are all the same now. No need to be like this." I talked a lot with Zhen Wuyang, talking about Zaiwadajan and Gong Ziyan, but they all fell. Qi temple robbed all the strong in the Yanxian realm, and then carried out a cruel screening. None of the strong masters in the Great Division's domain could enter the Tomb Mountain, and the one who walked the farthest went to Primordial Star and fell into the hands of the devouring demon lord. Some retired people returned to Dasiu and told Zhen Wuyang's law bodies. At this moment, they have all undergone great changes. Facing those who are very familiar, although they have fallen, there is no sadness. Especially Zhen Wuyang. It is his children who have clearly fallen, but there is no regret. In their opinion, those who are screened out are the strong, and those who fall are the weak. There is nothing to be a pity. Believe in the strong is king, but also domineering. Everything has to look forward. Jian Wushuang himself also came out of the ordinary, and he has done a lot of stupid things. He once gave up everything for the Taoist couple, but turned his head into a dream. It's better to let everything in the past become a line, floating there. Some things in the past, the two only chatted a little, and they talked more about the murals here. People who have seen the mural are all shocked. Fortune-telling. If it is a short-term forecast, it is nothing. Let Jian Wushuang predict a mortal, it can be said to be pretty sure. It would be difficult for him to predict an emperor. Even if he is also an emperor, he can't tell, especially from ancient times to the present. This is simply unbelievable. In the Tomb God Mountain, they have never heard of such a thing, but their appearance appears on the murals here. They also wondered if this scene would only appear on the mural when they came in. But there are 3 people who have no face or breath. If they really changed when they came, why didn't they show the faces of Jian Wushuang, Hui Qing, and Jiang Shang? If it were true, it would be terrible. Zhen Wuyang and others were originally planning to send a message to the real spirit, but they found that there was no way to contact the outside world. Just when everyone was puzzled, Jian Wushuang always felt that there was something wrong. Where did the Zishan, the first one to enter the palace of 3 kings, go? From Jin to the present, I haven't seen any figure. If a few people disappear, it's okay to say, but he alone disappears. Was the first one to come in. Disappeared. The others didn't care much, but Jian Wushuang began to be wary. The 5th Order emperors have all entered here. Zishan's strength shouldn't be denied. Could it be that there is something strange here? At this moment, the hall trembled for a while. Jian Wushuang and the others looked up. It was okay if they didn't look up. When they looked up, they almost frightened them to get down. 6th Order Emperor, and even the ultimate emperor felt that the younger generations were sweating coldly. On top of their heads has dozens of corpses suspended. Normally, some corpses are nothing more than ordinary people are not afraid of them, let alone strong people like them. But I took a closer look. These corpses are not other people. They are their own flesh. Boom. Jian Wushuang's scalp was numb, and he backed away quickly, then looked down at his arm. His other clone was broken long before he came out of the Soul Road. In order not to be discovered by others, he was broken long ago. Is the deity now. All the treasures are on the body, raising an arm, bursting the sleeves, leaking the arm of the candle dragon. All this is true, but how could his body hang above it? And his face is clearly a corpse, his face gray. All those present were shocked. Have they already fallen? This is impossible. Jian Wushuang inhaled an air conditioner. The rest of the people have been like sweat oozing out of their foreheads. The Emperor Tian Toad couldn't accept it. He directly exploded and acted on a 5th Order Emperor of the Yuan Palace. Without any guard, he slapped the opponent's head with a palm, and the blood mist rose instantly. https://mobile version reading URL Chapter 54:38. The 5th Order Emperor was also unlucky and fell in surprise. Although Situ Nen didn't know what was going on, Tian Chan started to kill the emperor in the Yuan Lao Palace. He had to take action anyway, otherwise how to lead people in the future. Bold. Just when he shot, a corpse hovering in the sky fell down. It was the 5th Order Emperor, who had been killed by Emperor Tian Chan before. The fallen body trembled for a while, and then came back to life. This caused Situ, Nan, who was about to do it, to stop and looked at the person lying on the ground in surprise. Situ Nan couldn't believe it. After the corpse on the ground recovered, he stood up again, then quickly backed away, and when he looked at Emperor Tian Chan, he leaked a frightened look. He has just been killed once, and his memory is very deep. The moment he fell, his soul was instantly torn into 2 parts. One part fell, and the other returned to the body. Although he was resurrected, his soul was severely damaged. Everyone has figured out what is floating above. Feelings. Their bodies are now souls, and their bodies are floating above the pavilion. Tian Chan, you are looking for death. Although he didn't really fall, Situ Nen wouldn't let him go if he rushed to the strong man in their Senate palace. But Emperor Tian Chan, the battle power of the 6th-tier peak, is only weaker than Situ Nan, and he is not afraid of the opponent. What's more, now the owner of the Turtle Spirit Island is also there. On the inheritor's side, there is no plan to do it. Everything takes chance as the most important thing. What's the use of fighting for life and death now? It's really going to be passed on, and it needs to be contended. It needs others to do it first, and they will kill it themselves. But surprisingly, the owner of Turtle Spirit Island did not intend to help, leaned aside with the rest of them, ignoring Emperor Tianqian's eyes. This makes Tian Chan very embarrassed. Although he is not afraid of Situ Nan, He cannot escape in such a small hall and is in danger of falling. Situ Nan, a divine clock of good fortune, descended directly from the sky, and he was about to suppress Emperor Tianchan. The heavenly toad emperor who directly forced him turned into his body and resisted with difficulty. Don't deceive people too much. Emperor Tianchan shouted angrily, if Situ Nen didn't cut the opponent today, where to put the back, he would be killed in front of him. Die! The of good fortune clock hummed. A sound wave attacked, and the sound made people's soul tremble. Under the waves of blows, Tianchan could not escape and was eventually killed by the town. The body of the sky toad, floating on the top of the hall, also descended. Situ Nen wanted to completely kill the opponent. At this time, Guiling Island took the initiative. Heavenly Toad Emperor has now fallen from the 6-tier peak to the 6-tier top again, and there is no threat to him anymore. He naturally wants to keep it and can't cut it to Situ Nan. In any case, it is also a powerful combat force. As soon as the Turtle Spirit Island Master took action, he directly stopped Situ Nan's means and said in a low voice, "Almost all right, Tian Toad is not right to do it first. If you cut his soul body, it is enough." Huh. Situ Nan snorted coldly and shouted angrily, "Arrogant, what are you guys? It's not enough to kill you all. A bunch of gangsters dare to compare with me." Although he said that, he started slowly because he found that the Turtle Spirit Island Master was a bit wrong at this time. The interception just now was a very casual hand, but it contained great power and could already threaten him. Shen Wuyang stood up at this time, opened his mouth to relieve the encirclement, and said, "Forget Brother Situ. Everything is important to the overall situation." Finally, Situ Nen stepped back with a gloomy face. Facing the weird methods of the Three Kings Palace, they really focused on the overall situation. Now the body is floating above, and the soul is walking below, which is quite funny. Jian Wushuang also looked up for a long time, found that the body of the elder Zishan was also above, but the soul was not here. It should have fallen completely. As for who was beheaded, he didn't know, but there is nothing to worry about. Now that his identity is exposed, he happens to have the patrons of the Senate Palace and the inheritors. The White King has fallen, and all his vows have been brought to the fore. He is completely free from the hands of the gods. From now on, the water in the well will not be in the river. He also hated being for others. The White King said that he fell, and such a big and powerful man. He said that he gave up and gave up. He is just a Taoist monarch, and I am afraid that he has no value. It's better to leave early. After all, this is the temple of Qishan, the site of the gods. Even if the gods can reach the sky, there are real spirits suppressing them. Although there was an episode in the middle, the hall was shaking all the time. At the northwest corner of the main hall, the end of the mural, a small copper furnace rose, and there was an inch-large vortex in the middle. As they leaned forward, a heavy voice rang out in the hall. "I am the third true king of the Three Kings Court, the Heavenly Emperor." This voice shocked everyone. Soul God is the strongest person with the origin of the soul. The ladder they walked up was created by the strong man. The third true king should be one of the three kings. Then did a heavy voice sounded again. Entering the copper furnace to accept the inheritance, you only have 1 hour, and after 1 hour, the entire Three Kings Court will fall into the turbulence of time and space and never open. Everyone was surprised. Fell into the turbulence of time and space. That is not spatial turbulence. In the turbulent time and space, the Lord of the universe will fall, which is extremely terrifying. After the heavy voice fell, another light rose from the northeast corner of the main hall. It was a small hill with nominations, Fong Siuan Mountain, above. An ear-piercing sound came from above. Jie Jie, a practitioner of change, quickly entered Fangsuan Mountain. I am the second true king, thousand changes. Remember the name of this seat. Don't forget it. The last sound was very sharp, and there was a lot of unwillingness in it. Although is only a few words, Jian Wushuang has learned a lot from it. There is loneliness and the feeling of wanting to break all rules, but powerless. These two voices represent Soul Dao and Change Dao. This is also the one they have the most contact with. Two passages, especially the origin Soul Dao. Many people have walked for a while, although they finally went to the Change Dao. It is not too late to change. But it seems that some people are not ready to change. Guiling Island Lord did not hesitate and went straight into the copper furnace. Emperor Tianchan went to Fangsuan Mountain. Broly, who had been sitting cross-legged in the corner, was the closest to Fang Siyuan Mountain. As if he knew that Fang Siyuan Mountain would appear there, his figure flashed in. Jian Wushuang is still waiting. He is waiting for the first true king. The old chessboard man. He never forgot. Soul Dao and Transformation Dao are both side by side to him. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5439. Only on the chessboard, his improvement is the greatest. The understanding of all things exceeds the experience of all things on the ladder of change. Sure enough, he guessed it right. In the mural, a red-haired old man walked out of it, shocking everyone. Little guys, don't be afraid. I don't know how many years the old guy has fallen. The old man's face is a bit rough, his skin is red, and his belly is rounded just like when playing chess. Compared with the previous two, this first true king is more kind. Wow! A chessboard rose into the sky and appeared in front of everyone with a sentence recorded above it. I am the creator of the Three Kings Court. No matter what the name is, you just call me a big official. I like to watch and play chess all my life. It is very boring to be my successor. Don't regret it. This passage was recorded previously, the same as the previous two. But now the first true king official appeared in front of everyone, obviously different from the previous two. The others looked around, and finally they chose the Soul Dao and the Change Dao. There is no time for them to think about it now. The chess game of the first true king in front of them is very difficult to understand. There is no clue at all, and the improvement is not great. It is better to go to the dojo of Soul Dao and Change Dao to try. Hui Qing nodded towards Jian Wushuang, did not say much, and took Jiang Shang into the copper furnace. Most of the others chose the path chosen before, without much hesitation. Qishui Traveler swayed left and right. He is a special being, and Change Dao and Soul Dao are really useless to him. An amplification source and an amplification soul. Neither of them is special. The special life, the special is the divine body, the structure of the divine body. The inheritance of practitioners is not very useful to him. The big official also noticed Chishu's hesitation, and he unexpectedly reminded him, "You have a thick skin, but you are very similar to the one-eyed guy," said, finger pointing out. A light turned into a bridge. "Here, you can only go in here. Go in." Chishui Walker was overjoyed. He almost knelt down on the spot, and after a quick thank you, he plunged in. The people in the hall left, leaving Jian Wushuang alone. "Little guy, accompany the old man in the next game?" The big official waved his hand, and the chessboard flew over. Jian Wushuang arched his hands, respectfully said, "It's a great honor." Then the two settled again. Jian Wushuang lost quickly this time, and finally shook his head. At first he thought he was a group of talented people, but now it seems that his talent is average. Ha! Don't be discouraged. I am the same as you, with mediocre talents at the beginning, but at the end I couldn't figure out the mystery of this board. Jian Wushuang doubted. "Senior, your origin does not seem to be in line with the chessboard." "Yes, I'm just hard-headed because a treasure that has delayed my life. I am very happy that you can give up prematurely. After passing the first level, does the little guy want to become my successor? The official looked at Jian Wushuang with a little interest. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate this time, and immediately spoke directly. Junior is willing. He also left the hall and entered the chessboard. The space on the chessboard is very stable. When Jian Wushuang came in, he all fell from the sky, and he didn't change the space as he did in the past. Obviously, he did not leave the hall, but the chessboard itself was in the hall, and he was actually still in the hall. The great official came here afterwards, looking at Jian Wushuang. His voice also changed to be gentle and became a little serious. Jian Wushuang, his name is very good. He has the spirit of killing. Thank you, predecessor, for the praise. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. The big official waved his hand, and the two of them entered directly into a huge coliseum. How about it? Is it true enough? Jian Wushuang was surprised and said, space changes, and the strength of the seniors reaches the sky. This space is very real, and some of the figures are indistinguishable from living creatures. Haha, it's up to you next. The second level may be difficult. Fight higher. The official pointed at a giant beast in the cage below. Seeing that the strength should be at the level of the emperor, it is considered to be an ancient alien species, which is a level stronger than the ordinary cultivator emperor. That giant beast. On the surface of the second-order emperor, but it can be comparable to the third-order emperor. In ancient times, it was more difficult to fight higher than it is now, because the emperors of that period were much stronger than the incomplete emperors of the four great secret realms. He was able to slay the fifth rank in the four great secret realms, and in the true ancient times, he could be comparable to the fifth rank at best. Will be one grade lower, but that's enough. The consciousness of the first true king should have been left before his fall, without any discernment ability and still not knowing Jian Wushuang's true combat power. Otherwise, I wouldn't come up with such a stretched behemoth. Is only comparable to the third-order emperor. Who is it to look down on? Jian Wushuang flew directly and fell into the center of the Colosseum. Fell heavily, flying off the dust. The giant beast was also released from the cage. Jian Wushuang just condensed a sword aura, flew out instantly, directly pierced into the beast's eyebrows. After the sword aura entered the beast's body, it turned into a sword shadow and directly cut the beast into a number in the most perfect way. 100,000 thin slices of meat. The big officials in this scene are shocking. For a while, he was a little confused about Jian Wushuang's strength. If it were to simply kill the giant beast, he would not be too shocked. It would be unbelievable to kill the giant beast this way. The message passed in the Three Kings Court. Jian Wushuang is indeed just a Taoist monarch. Senior, how is it? Jian Wushuang casually grabbed a thin and transparent piece of meat and handed it to the official. He can see that the corners of the opponent's eyes are shaking. Has fallen for countless years. Can be remembered yesterday, still in ancient times. The great official carefully recalled those Dao monarchs under his command. It seems that the most defying Dao monarchs are comparable to the fourth-order emperors. Ahem, it's not bad, but this is just an appetizer. The next thing you have to fight against is not the emperor, but just a Taoist like you. But don't be careless. This Taoist was my Three Kings Court before his death. The first monarch, said and pointed out, a figure appeared in the Colosseum. It was a young man in a silver armor with a tiger head helmet on his head, British and powerful. This time the opponent is extraordinary. A Taoist who can be strong into this way should be the ultimate way, and he is also a Taoist who has reached the 9th level of the ultimate way. Jian Wushuang re-entered the field, staring intently, and his thought power spread to the audience. The opponent is the ultimate Taoist, but I don't know which ultimate way he has mastered. You want to challenge me? The silver armor boy looked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect that the other party would still talk. He originally thought it was just a metamorphosis. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5440. But since the other party can speak and is conscious, he has to be serious. The other party is the ultimate way like him, and he still has respect in his heart. In Xia Jian Wushuang, please advise. Jian Wushuang waved his hand, and a long sword appeared in his hand. Silver Armor Boy, raising his arrogant head with high fighting spirit, said coldly, "My god of war is Gundam. Remember my title." After speaking, he turned into a white tiger beast and rushed forward. The momentum is unstoppable, has at least tier 4 top combat power. This level is not a threat to Jian Wushuang, but he dare not care about it. In case the other party has any means, it will be no good for him to capsize the ship again. Whew! A fierce claw tore through the sky, and it came to him in an instant. But facing the white tiger beast, Jian Wushuang saw the deity of the silver armored boy Gundam at a glance. This kind of fierce offense, if you want to crack it, you have to defeat it head-on. Jian Wushuang made a sword and pointed directly at Gundam. This sword was at least tier 4 peak combat power, and the opponent had to stop and resist this sword, otherwise he would have to fall. Snapped! He didn't expect the other party. Not only did he not stop, he even increased his strength, and his breath increased again and again. Jian Wushuang received that sharp claw first, and slipped through the outer robe, leaking the dark red inner armor. The hard claws touched the soft armor, and there was no loud noise. Jian Wushuang's chest sank. It was impossible to break his inner armor, but he could withstand a lot of the huge impact. But the opponent's strength is still close. He hasn't been injured yet. And now it's his turn. A sword pierced out and pointed directly at the center of the eyebrows. The white tiger helmet that went up to the next moment directly wrapped the head. Jian Wushuang's sword had a very small impact and did not pierce the helmet. Naturally, it didn't hurt much, but even so, Gundam was still slightly injured. A full blow from the fourth order pinnacle, without breaking the helmet, the battle armor on the opponent's body is at least imitation of the eternal treasure, and it is still very top-notch. Innate, supreme treasure. Jian Wushuang can break it, and what can block him is also an imitation of eternal treasure. As for the true treasure of eternity, even if the most powerful ones are not broken, let alone him, the opponent was able to block it, and he expected that the first monarch of the Three Kings Court had the eternal treasure on his body, and it was not unusual for him. Gundam was repulsed, revealing a shocked look, and said in surprise, "Are you also a Taoist?" Otherwise, Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Although the opponent is the first monarch of the Three Kings Court, his status is not too high, and he can't even enter the eyes of the Three Kings. Even if the combat power is no matter how strong it is, and the talent is strong, it may not be able to walk along the way, let alone become the Lord of the universe. For these talented Tao monarchs, at best, they will cultivate more, not as exaggerated as the current Shishin Temple. The former is to cultivate elites, while the latter is to screen inheritors, which is different. In terms of knowledge and realm, Jian Wushuang surpassed Gundam too much. The opponent's space realm is not stable in the star realm, and the 2 stars surrounding it are very small. Jian Wushuang has already mastered the power of half a black hole. How powerful this is! You are too close. The sword without hands, the ancient sword rose, and the punishment came. After the punishment, it was shunfing. Let's fall. Numerous sword intents rose up, and the word of the town came out, And then this ancient dynasty, the famous Taoist monarch, was directly sealed. The extreme path expands, and the power of thought moves. The sealed divine body and flesh are shattering, and the origin has entered the black hole that Jian Wushuang transformed into. It seems that it is easy to defeat the opponent, but in fact, the strength of the opponent is still very good. It is about the fourth order peak. Especially when he resisted his sword at the end, the aura that erupted was very strong. This kind of Taoist, who has reached perfection in the ultimate path, should not be underestimated. No one is simple. The first true king looked at his eyes hot. Jian Wushuang's potential and strength exceeded his expectations. Originally, he thought that Jian Wushuang's ultimate path would not be long-term, but now it seems that it is beyond his cognition. A Taoist is so strong that he was not so strong when he was at Taoist. Senior, have you ever counted this level? Jian Wushuang put away his long sword, volleyed into the sky, and arrived in front of the official. De Guanzi didn't say much. This space disappeared in an instant, and the two were back on the chessboard. Not bad, but it's not that simple to get my heritage. After finishing speaking, the first true king began to explode with a strong aura, but the power is not strong. It is only in the realm of Taoist monarchs. Jian Wushuang is a bit wrong. What does it mean? The officials said indifferently, according to my original plan, defeat Gundam, you will be able to become my successor. But now I have changed my mind. Beat me is your only way out now. Jian Wushuang was shocked. What? Defeat the first true king? How can that be? Even though I know that the aura on the opponent's body is only Daojun, the realm is a bit worse. The opponent is the overlord-level powerhouse in Morwa time and space in ancient times. Even if his strength is suppressed to Dao Sovereign, he is definitely not an opponent. His little realm of space, in front of the strong man who has already walked through the space and stepped onto the origin of time, he is nothing. Half a black hole state. It's okay to deal with other people. It's too shabby to deal with an old monster. The biggest official thought that this frightened Jian Wushuang, but he didn't know that Jian Wushuang had not been frightened, but became very excited. The harder it is, the more he receives. As for failure, he never thought nor doubted that he would fail. Want to defeat the first true king? What he needs is not the realm. What he wants is the power to surpass the first true king. The realm of the first true king is very high, but the origin is at the limit of the Taoist, which seems to be the ultimate way. Even if it is the 9th level of the ultimate way, he is not empty. He also defeated a Taoist who had the ultimate path to consummation. As for the divine body, Jian Wushuang could only feel that the phantom in the opponent's body was 30,000 times the divine body, while the physical body was normal. Even if the realm of space has reached consummation, the origin of time has gone a long way, but the combat power that these can transform into is limited. It is unrealistic for a Taoist to show such great combat power. Jian Wushuang's fighting spirit rose and resolutely said, "Offended, burst out with all strength." There was no hiding, and he didn't need to hide anything in front of a dead person. The divine body began to expand from 15,000 times the base to 30,000 times. Then incarnate into the demon body. Change through the ages. Jian Wushuang didn't expect that the secret method of increasing the origin of the ages would be able to have a miraculous effect on the devil power. Both the divine body and the origin are climbing, and the physical body is tough and shows no signs of being unsupported. Originally thought Jian Wushuang's body would not be able to withstand such a powerful force, but seeing the back, the official was stunned. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 54:41. How can be so strong? The transformed into a heavenly demon body has reached its 12 arms. This is the most perfect heavenly demon body, the true body of an ancient heavenly demon. The ancient celestial demon clan is not a powerful race. The strongest is not the most powerful, and the great officials may not have heard of it. 12-armed heavenly demon, 50,000 times the divine body. This kind of genius is so fair to tell the truth. It may not be as powerful as the genius created by King White. Ku Jian Wu Shuang, as a Taoist monarch, has gone through the unique school created by Zhu Jian, which is very outrageous. 50,000 times the divine body. Jian Wushuang felt every particle in his body tremble. This force is too strong. The origin of space has been increased to 70% of the black hole realm. Who? At this moment, Jian Wushuang is like the real body of a demon, and the hot power behind it is a black hole. The towering 12-armed celestial demon has a huge black hole behind it. This scene has only appeared in ancient times. Even if he was a Tier 5 pinnacle in front of him, Jian Wushuang felt that he could smash the opponent with one punch. Move. Boom. A breath changes. Jian Wushuang came up to perform melee combat directly, without any fancy moves, only the violent attack with one punch. The power of all things is like pouring sea water sprinkled from the sky, and the power consumed every moment is comparable to a fourth-order emperor. Snapped. The first true king and the official, after hardly resisting Jian Wushuang's punch, his figure suddenly retreated. That power is too strong. Although it surpassed Jian Wushuang a lot in the realm of, it was not good at head-to-head. This is beyond his cognition. He is the Lord of the universe, the former three kings, and he has never seen such a powerful Taoist monarch. In countless epics, he reminisces carefully. Once stepping in the starry sky, Morwa has never encountered such a heaven-defying Taoist. Can be compared with Jian Wushuang. It is probably the dome that shattered the Three Kings' Court. The life born from the giant egg is not a special life, nor is it an innate beast god, but comes from a starry sky group. In the starry sky, he recognized the birth of a life against the sky, but Jian Wushuang is a human cultivator. Why is he so strong? The level of life is also very high, and the physical body has reached a perfect state, and every particle in the body is transforming into a steady stream of power. The origin is so strong that he is ashamed as the Lord of the universe. The origin of a Taoist monarch comparable to a sixth-order emperor. The more I hit, the more shocked. Finally, he pulled back his figure, facing Jian Wushuang in a distance, and began to perform his unique skills. Head-to-head, he really can't do anything with Jian Wushuang. But it's not the same if it's a secret technique. Even if he simply uses space, he can control the space here. This is the power of the universe. Condensation. The space began to twist, and Jian Wushuang, who was scared, could not retreat. When he wanted to get close to the big official, he had already hit the opponent's face with a punch, but after turning his head, he had already reached another space. Can't meet a big official. Jian Wushuang turned into a black hole. It was too slow to travel through space. This is space. Who? Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, and this wave was not lost. Although he couldn't win, he had a close look at the rules and mysteries of the universe. That is the superposition of layers of space. Only two stars are vertically and horizontally in all the space, and then the black hole evolves into the universe. And Jian Wushuang himself, just like those two stars, some creatures can only be at the bottom. The great official who has successfully cultivated the space is already the king standing proudly in the 10-layer space, holding the sun, moon, and stars in his hands. The universe, it is incredible. Although Jian Wushuang was powerless, he had not completely given up. He still has the strongest hole card, no matter what treasure he gets. It is not as good as that one. The big official grasped the sun and the moon and said calmly, "Don't give up yet." "No way," Jian Wushuang yelled. "The universe, not only you own it. Hum." The power of thought spread. The black hole behind Jian Wushuang disappeared, and all the breath of space was evading and dissipating. One thought. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes slightly, pinched his hands with his hands, erected his human figure, and restored his original appearance. At this moment, with him as the center, the power of thought is scattered and transformed into space. The power of swallowing condenses into a black hole, and the power of all things is multiplying in the universe. Boom! Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "Universe, get up!" A real and huge universe descended in an instant, enclosing the first true king and great official. The big official stared his eyebrows and looked around. That familiar breath, he knew a little bit, is too familiar. That is the power he once mastered, the power of the universe. It is rising, gradually suppressing the cosmic space he displays. There is no way that there is only the power of the Taoist, and the space of the universe is so large. Jian Wushuang is different. His one-mind universe is related to mind power, swallowing, and all things. The stronger these three are, the stronger his one-mind universe will be, millions of miles before to hundreds of millions of miles later. Now, the universe of one mind that he displays is already comparable to a medium-sized world, is the same size as the former big division domain. After he became the emperor, the universe of one mind that he displayed would be comparable to the higher world. When he was the lord of the universe, I was afraid that he could directly descend into a universe by himself. At that time, it was truly invincible. Is just the universe. It is illusory after all. It would be great if it could become real. If this idea let the big official know, I'm afraid he would point to Jian Wushuang's nose and curse, idiotically dreaming. In my universe, the enemy either escapes or is defeated. Jian Wushuang was in a good mood and even dared to tease the first true king. Now the other party really can't escape, can only choose to head with him. Once again turned into a 12-armed demon, the candle dragon's wings widened. The arm of the candle dragon at Ukanshu, Calm lifted slightly and suddenly made a fist, and a black hole was collapsing. This force caused Jian Wushuang's confidence to burst, and he directly killed the official. Not only does he want to beat the opponent, he also beats the opponent violently. Boom. One punch, 2 punches, 10,000 punches, like raindrops pouring down, slammed on the mellow belly of the official. But I don't know how precious the other party's clothes are, but it won't be bad. You must know that Jian Wushuang's robe has long been torn now, and there are few cloth strips on his body. There is only a dark red light armor, 12 arms, each holding the sun and the moon, especially the one with the arm of the candle dragon. The fist turned into a black hole, and the big official flew out hundreds of millions of miles with one punch. After that, his figure did not move. Tens of thousands of miles away, there was another Jian Wushuang who was exactly the same, with his hands clenched, 6 fists, and the younger generation who wanted to bend down by the big official. He straightened his body. The shape is also similar to Kuju, and it has been transferred to the original position of Jian Wushuang. For a time, in the universe of one mind, several Jian Wushuang appeared, and they passed on, and they really beat the real king. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5442. Fortunately, it is just a consciousness. If this is a true king, Jian Wushuang would not dare to do this. This is disrespectful. However, the first true king really didn't care very much. He still admired Jian Wushuang for being beaten up. No wonder you can't be predicted. You are indeed a person of bad luck. I am afraid it has something to do with the stars. When the big official was beaten up, he was still laughing in his heart, thinking about Jian Wushuang's identity. In the starry sky, There are so many long rivers of time and space, and the strong people are different. For example, in the original Morwa time and space, characters like the gods could appear. Compared with the long river of time and space where the original universe is now, there is not even a master of the universe, so it is extremely stretched. The unpredictable powerhouses of the three kings, except Jian Wushuang, are Huiqing and Jiangsham. These two have gone to the inheritance space established by the Soul Heaven Emperor, went to accept the inheritance of Soul Dao. If you want to talk about them, whoever has the most hope to get the complete inheritance, I am afraid it is Broly. Change the way to the strong, almost stable, going through the entire four secret realms, and even all the people in the original universe. Together, I am afraid that there is only such a powerful person of change. And on the mural, it was predicted long ago that Broly would go in Fangkunshan to accept the complete inheritance. Jian Wushuang and Huiqing, these faceless people, did not predict where they would go. I really want to predict. With Jian Wushuang's current mentality, he will not enter the inheritance of prediction. Once bitten, twice shy, was so used by the gods, he was really scared. The fall of the White King is unknown. And he also resurrected a universe lord, Faego, who walked out of the starry sky next time. Will he ask him to resurrect the dome? After all, his power of all things can revive all things and resurrect a dome. It should be fine, too. At this point, Jian Wushuang really guessed it right. The was really ready to swallow him at the beginning, but Jian Wushuang at that time was too weak, and he couldn't restore the strength of thee if he swallowed it. But he has said goodbye to everything before, and he will never have any contact with the gods in the future. At the same time, boom, once again toss the big, official man out. Although it can severely injure the opponent, it can't really kill it, and it's difficult to defeat it. The opponent is like a ball of cotton, and it can't be beaten at all. Jian Wushuang has the illusion that the realm of the master of the universe shouldn't be just this capable. Senior, aren't you ready to use your full strength? He couldn't help but look at the big official. If he continued to fight like this, if he wanted to consume all his power, then he would just think too much. Was just at the beginning, and he consumed a lot of the power of all things in his wild shots, but most of the subsequent melee combat did not consume too much, and it continued to derive, and he even fully restored the power of all things. The first true king finally stabilized his figure, and said unexpectedly, "It seems that your knowledge is extraordinary, and you even understand the methods of the Lord of the Universe." A Taoist, a clear emperor's method. Even if it is good, it is not realistic to be able to understand even the Lord of the Universe. In fact, Jian Wushuang didn't know much, but he had swallowed a wisp of the origin of the Lord of the Universe and learned a lot from it. Of course, it was just some fur, but it was much better than those who knew nothing about the emperor. The rest of the people, especially the emperors of the primitive universe, don't even talk about the Lord of the Universe. They don't know much about Zhujian. Is also in the Temple of Qishan. It is considered to have gained a little insight. Senior Myo praised it. His mouth was polite, but his action was extremely harsh. There is no way. There is too much difference in realm. The moves of the ultimate kendo can't be used, and they can only fight hand to hand, relying on the powerful divine body to suppress the opponent. So it seems that some do not conform to the style of the strong. And the methods are so simple. The big official dodges a punch, and then another punch in the face. This time he didn't have more. His lips moved slightly, and he said calmly, "Set." Silence. When the fixed character exits, the time flow rate drops suddenly, and it has reached a stop state. Jian Wushuang was frozen in midair. The first true king retreat leisurely. Yep, punched out. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. This is his universe. No matter how high the space realm of the big official is, it can't be so fast. It's obviously on the opponent's face, but he is empty. And with the punch just now, he felt that he was slowing down. He always feels that something is wrong there. I can't say that something went wrong there. When rushed over again, he deliberately separated 16 avatars and doubled the big official. But this time he also missed. Something's wrong. Jian Wushuang stopped his figure, not doing anything. The first true king shook his finger and said calmly, "Quick." Jian Wushuang suddenly felt that his whole person was being swallowed by a force. His face was constantly changing haggard, and his breath was weakening. He obviously just stepped back, but he felt the feeling of walking for countless years. That kind of exhaustion made his mental outlook change. It was only a moment, but he had passed thousands of years. It's time. Jian Wushuang's eyes were shocked. Only time can make them so passive, and he is a little at a loss for this method. Even if you are the Lord of the universe, it is impossible to change the flow of time at will. This is not the kind of tattered stuff, like the time house, that can be compared. His time flow has become faster, but the opponent's time flow is still normal. And it was just a moment. He has passed 10,000 years. This acceleration is a bit too fast. Although the face of the first true king was calm, he was even more shocked by Jian Wushuang in his heart. The first time he changed time, he used his own time origin, but he could only hold Jian Wushuang in this universe for an instant. Can't help but Jian Wushuang can only rely on other powers to let time pass instantly and directly weaken Jian Wushuang's strength to a weak state. The current Jian Wushuang, the divine body, can't even maintain 10,000 times. The demon body is already broken, and the origin is also very weak, decayed all at once. This is the first time Jian Wushuang encountered this method. One thought that the universe has already collapsed. Lost. Jian Wushuang touched his cheek. Feeling real, he was a little unwilling. It's too bad. He tried his best. I once extracted some mysteries from the origin of the universe and learned a lot. Although I only learned a little about time, I don't think it is as exaggerated as it is now. Only the Taoist level. How can you use your time to such an outrageous level? If this is the heyday, he will be finished at a glance. It is not to kill him or suppress him, but to let time obliterate him. Although the lifespan of a fairy can be said to be unlimited, once the soul weakens and the will of the soul weakens, it will collapse itself. Only the origin and the body are eternal. The divine body will be lost. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5443. The physical body can be fused with other treasures comparable to the eternal treasure and exist forever. The origin is a kind of cosmic matter. No matter how powerful it is, the origin returns to the universe, and it will not dissipate. What disappears is either swallowed by Jian Wushuang or suppressed. The big official also received his magical powers and looked at Jian Wushuang and said quietly, "You won." Is indeed Jian Wushuang won. The last resort, he used a treasure. The battle between him and Jian Wushuang was originally proposed temporarily, so there is no clear stipulation. Even he can put water. 1. Jian Wushuang was puzzled. The official said indifferently, "Yes, you won. You have won me now. You have passed the last level. The next inheritance is a bit beyond your imagination. You have to be prepared." Prepared mind. Jian Wushuang's face leaked a weird smile. It is not easy to exceed his imagination. Now he has a beast weapon on his body. Although it is incomplete, it is not a problem for him to make a semi-finished product in the Qixin Temple. He has also mastered the heaven-defying origin of Jidao and has surpassed all inheritance. I won't talk about the rest. What else can be surpassed just for these two? As for insight, he once walked the stars, lived for hundreds of millions of years, and witnessed countless miracles. The primitive creature of a star the birth and reproduction of the race, the structure of the starry sky. All these are the most expensive experiences. It's not that he looks down on the first true king. These 3 palaces are still a lot worse than the Chichen Temple. At least there was a lot of difference in this row, and the ending was even worse. The 3 kings were killed by fuego. If it weren't for the Temple of Chichen, I'm afraid this relic would not be left. Originally, he still had great hopes for the 3 kings' court, but when he came in, he found that it was too crude. He wanted to see what inheritance it was. Could he come up with a complete universe origin? If this were the case, he would have taken a look at the real king. The big official raised his hand and slowly controlled his fingers with a miniature chessboard on the palm of his hand. Do you know what level of treasure is above the eternal treasure? The first true king's eyes were a little hot. This is the glory of his life. Jian Wushuang didn't understand why suddenly he talked about the treasure above the eternal treasure. There is also the treasure of the universe. He knows this, or the Mountain King told him at the beginning, is just a treasure of the universe. It must be displayed only when the origin reaches the realm of the universe, and it is useless for them. The origin of space has reached the realm of the universe, and it has almost become the master of the universe. The treasures of the universe are mostly used by the Lord of the universe, and are not of much help to the emperor, so Jian Wushuang did not know much about it. As for treasures that are more powerful than the treasures of the universe, he doesn't know. According to the old man with horns, the beasts are only special. They are better than the ordinary treasures of the universe, but in the final analysis, they are still the level of the treasures of the universe. Regarding the question of the big official, Jian Wushuang didn't know and shook his head. Looking at the chessboard in the opponent's hand, his heart sank. Could it be that this chessboard is stronger than the treasure of the universe? Wow. Come in and take a look. Let you see a treasure that is stronger than the treasure of the universe. The big official took Jian Wushuang into the river at the core of the chessboard. In the river, there is a huge reef with a small pavilion on it, and there are no seats in it. The 2 of them just stood there. Jian Wushuang looked at the turbulent river, where not only the power of space turbulence, but also time flows. This is the long river of time and space. One piece of supreme treasure can contain a long river of time and space. Although it is only a reduced version of the time and space river, it still shocked Jian Wushuang. He has not seen the real time and space river, but has spied on it from some inheritors. The most intuitive time was to see the long rivers of time and space in the starry sky, but the distance was too far, and those rivers of time and space were like bloodlines. More powerful than the treasure of the universe. It is the treasure of time and space, and this chessboard where you and I are located. The big official was a little proud, seeing the sword without double-sided shaking, and continued, I can tell you clearly, in the original Morwa time and space, this treasure can be ranked in the top 3 or even the top 2. The time and space treasure is too powerful. Even if the Lord of the universe gets it, it will not take it out. There are only 2 that were actually born, one in the hands of the gods. One is in the hands of another strong man who is not weaker than the gods. There is only one God of God. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Doesn't it mean that Chichen is very coveted for this treasure? Senior is the piece in the hands of Chichen, a great hall. Jian Wushuang was a little curious. The Temple of Chichen is very special. If the treasure of time and space in Kishen's hands is not the Temple of Chichen, it means that there is another treasure of time and space. The official stunned for a moment and said, the Temple of Chichen? He really didn't know this. Although it was speculated that someone had come to this ruin, he hadn't been against the sky yet to speculate on the gods. I used this chessboard to predict the future. Jian Wushuang found that the other party didn't know it. It seemed that he was overestimating, so he quickly turned the subject off and asked about the chessboard. The treasure of time and space. You can and don't ask for it. When he first obtained this chessboard, the big official was still mundane. He played chess with an old man in the mundane world. He played for 10 days and 10 nights without a moment of rest. In the end, he won the game and got this board. The luster in the big official's eyes lit up, and his voice trembled. I went from the mundane to the extreme of the red immortal until I reached the peak of the universe. I never saw that senior again. He is the real mighty one. I will wait. It's just ants. Yup, it is an exaggeration to give a treasure of time and space directly to a mortal. How powerful the opponent is. You reading www.okanshu.com, at least the Lord of the Universe would not be generous enough to give a mortal a treasure of the universe, is at best an eternal treasure which can be refined by oneself, which is not precious to the Lord of the Universe, can easily produce a time and space treasure, the opponent's courage and strength. Xian, he was not so generous back then. Does that senior leave no name? Jian Wushuang asked cautiously. He had a hunch that this treasure would be given to him. Otherwise, it would not set up such a perverted level. The first true king hesitated a little, not knowing whether to say it or not, but he has fallen, and there is nothing to say. So he said, it's just a mundane name. I don't know if it is true or not. Gu-yi. Jian Wushuang brows slightly zochi. Koichi. Why is this name so similar to Xian Yi? Is just one word away. Just as he was thinking about it, a dilapidated and dark, ancient ship drifted from the river. Followed, there was a peculiar wind bell. https:// mobile version reading URL